Improvement this afternoon with a high temperature up to about 78. Partly cloudy tonight, cooler, overnight low temperature down to about 52. Tomorrow, April begins on a nice note with plenty of sunshine and a high temperature up to about 81. I think we'll be in the upper 80s on Wednesday and Thursday and maybe teasing 90 degrees with mostly sunny skies on Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Delray to Publix.
1819 News.
Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall, along with 17 other attorneys general, announced the end result of an investigation into various banks who are implementing ESG policies. That stands for environmental, social, and governance policies. The report says that 5 total American banks were investigated for compromising their fiduciary obligations to investors and customers by engaging in a net zero banking alliance together in order to achieve net zero emissions by 2030 through the use of funding and investments. AG Marshall said this type of collusion violates antitrust and consumer protection laws. Marshall says that Wells Fargo has decided to abandon their ESG policies and to withdraw entirely from this banking alliance. The other banks have yet to do so with the alliance membership as well as their ESG policies. The other 5 banks are still under investigation by the attorneys general. They are Bank of America, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, and Morgan Stanley. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Ryan Dawson here, CEO of 1819 News. I'm also the host of 1819 News, the podcast, and we'd love for you to join us by listening to our weekly show on all the top podcast apps, both in audio and video format. At 1819 News, the podcast, we are in pursuit of a free and flourishing Alabama. Every week, we're having important conversations with guests from across this great state, all with the goal of equipping Alabamians to be in pursuit of a free and flourishing Alabama with us. New episodes are released weekly. I hope you'll join us.
U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville is offering a bill to protect the purity of honey and to help beekeepers who are gathering it here in the U.S. The Honey Integrity Act would require the Food and Drug Administration to create a standard for honey imports, especially those that have other substances mixed into it. Tuberville says this is to help U.S. beekeepers not be undercut by the foreign imports and to provide transparency of contents to the consumer. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Have you been thinking about selling your home? Let me ask you, would you want to trust your biggest investment with a part-time agent? You know, the kind who can't make your property a priority until after work at their real job? I'm Hannah Grantham, and you don't get that with us.
That's right. And I'm Eddie Bader. And if they're not focused 100% on your home, can they really even get you top dollar?
I couldn't agree more. We're top producing agents with a reputation for getting results. No side gigs here at Forest Meadows Homes and Land.
So call us today at 334-368-6358 and let us show you why who you have on your sign really matters.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet?
RV wins!
Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping?
RV wins!
Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach?
RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
One country. We live in the southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid. Protect yourself.
in a democracy. Can you get a cough, please?
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program here on a stormy Monday out of Montgomery, Alabama. But the week begins and I'm in a good mood. You can accuse me of being a fair weather fan because I'm really not that big of a fan of college basketball, but I am a graduate of Auburn University. Seeing them go to the Final Four is fantastic. Eddie Bader in the studio, as is our reoccurring guest here on Mondays, Troy Carrico. Gentlemen, how you two doing?
Bye.
I
enjoyed watching Auburn win.
Yeah, did
Alabama lose?
Wait, what happened with Alabama?
They went to play Duke,
and
that ended that.
That didn't win.
That ended that run.
Like, was it close?
For a little bit.
Only a little bit.
Yeah.
What's a little bit?
At the end, they were, I think, down by 20.
Oh, I'm so sorry we brought that up.
It's all right.
War Eagle.
War Eagle, baby.
And you're all decked out in your garb.
I'm enjoying it while we can, Joey, because I do have that feeling, we got Florida coming up, and Florida's had our number all year. So
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm worried about, too. Now, my bracket's pretty busted, but I did have Auburn Duke as the final.
Oh, really?
As the championship game.
Nice, Joey.
Yeah. And I have Auburn winning. It was a complete,
if you got to go that far, you might
right.
as well win.
So that's good news.
Yeah.
And as I'm just more focused on like the basketball this weekend, and then I jump in and I write my article. It's called "The Paradox of DOGE Cuts for the Common Good," which isn't a paradox to me, but it might be to some who usually associate the common good always means a bigger and more expensive government doing more things. Not necessarily, and you don't have to be a libertarian or conservative to understand the point. But then I started looking at, okay, what's going on in the news? Started looking last night. Trump says third term isn't out of the question. This man will be, what, 82? At the end of his...
I just love the thought of that. People are freaking out. You hear them now. Just freaking out.
What does that sound? I
New
don't
York
know.
all of a sudden with the horns.
I'm glad it's not just me.
No.
For a second, I thought I was going crazy.
In New York, all of a sudden with the horns.
Yeah, the horns blast outside. But what do you think? I mean, you would have to change the Constitution or make of a...
I think he's just making liberals scream just a little bit harder, which is just wonderful.
Though he's looking like younger as he gets older. Like, lost all his weight.
Good. He's actually looking good right now.
Yeah, pretty high
Big
energy.
Macs.
Yeah.
Or maybe somebody got him off the Big Macs.
Now, is it a good thing we finally, after FDR, term limited presidents to 2 terms?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
By all means.
Yeah, I think Obama could have easily won re-election.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of folks, Reagan could have kept, well, again, got a little older. But if you have a young guy, you could end up with somebody like Vladimir Putin, who's there for, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, I'm not sure that corollary is completely accurate, but...
What, you're saying their elections aren't fair?
I know this. That they like to test people's ability to fly out of windows. And he didn't fly so well. So
here, have some of this tea.
Yes. Yeah,
well, why is it bubbling? Yeah, well, no, it's
especially hot tea.
Especially hot. What's this powder on my doorknob?
Trump also says he won't fire anyone over the Signal chat incident.
I saw that.
It's like, I don't fire people for fake news and little things.
You really see a reason for him to?
No.
Well, the thing about that is, guys, and I was talking to a lot of people in the field of intelligence, and that should never, that collateral level, that should be on a JWIC system, which is a joint intelligence system for classified information, and or SIPR, which is a secret. You get secret, top secret. But the fact that it was on an open platform like Signal, okay, so it's encrypted. It's not government standard encrypted. It's not. They're not controlling it. So, man, I'm going to tell you right now, sort of like when Hillary Clinton decided to bring in JWICs and SIPR into her house when she was living there as the Secretary of the state. People went to jail for that because your security manager and the people that are responsible for getting that out and done, they're the ones that are their butts in the sling. So I find it interesting that no fallout's really come over it. But
do you think there's some internal fallout we're just not hearing
I
about?
do. I think that there were some things that were done internally, but I mean, I don't know how in the heck Pete Hegseth didn't know better than to have that chat out there on the Signal. No.
It could be they were all told as they're being read in, like, yeah, we use Signal for this. It's fine.
Yeah, I think so. But the question is, then how the heck does a guy from the Atlantic get into that mix?
Yeah, and I think almost, I don't think Waltz was even controlling it. I think it was a staffer or something.
I do too.
But Trump said, no, I'm not going to fire anyone over this. And actually, I think that's a good move just from a Trump perspective, even if there are massive screw-ups, as you just laid out, Troy, rewarding this sort of red meat story is not exactly a good move by the president. I think he's gotten wise since the first term. Trump also says he's very angry over Putin's comments on Zelensky.
I saw that.
Vows to hit Russia with 25% oil tariffs. These would be secondary tariffs that affect nations that buy oil from the Russians. And then Trump says if Iran doesn't want to make a deal, he will bomb Iran as never seen before. And this comes with what? B-2s being, all of a sudden, how does the press know B-2s are traveling to the, this is all signaled out.
They're in
no pun intended.
Diego Garcia. I got a friend named Diego Garcia right now.
So Trump is kind of laying it all out there that he wants peace, but he's not going to back down if you choose the other option. That seems to be the setup we're looking at. We're also seeing a bunch of folks as, what does Trump call it? Liberation Day on April 2nd, which is Reciprocal Tariff Day. You're seeing good news, bad news. You're seeing a lot of the Wall Street folks start predicting a massive recession with massive inflation, whereas you're also seeing, though, like Republicans say, actually, we think inflation is going to go down. You're going to get more investment. So a lot of the economic predictions are based on who you like politically. Interesting how that sort of magical thinking works. I think we just have to let it play out. You're already seeing the best news is places like India and many other big nations saying, well, on hundreds of goods and stuff, we'll bring down, if it's reciprocal, we'll bring it down. We'll bring it down real quick.
They want some American goods there, something bad.
I think that's fantastic. You also have Trump and team putting an emergency request into the Supreme Court of the United States, especially on this Judge Boasberg saga over sending designated terrorist members of terrorist groups or the Tren de Agua guys over to El Salvador. Trump is asking for the Supreme Court to step in and really make clear that this is actually a power of Article 2 of the presidency that they're initiating here. And I think a lot of these things need to be fast-tracked to the Supreme Court, and they need to actually make these decisions. And some of these don't make sense to me. Like some of these judges' rulings, they're acting like Elon Musk is just doing this on the fly. And I'm like, no, there's literally executive orders, documentation. DOGE is assisting agency heads who were appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate. Like this is all coming from the president. It's not just Elon running roughshod over things.
I think it's interesting because I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago with a caller about this activist judge, activist judge phenomenon that's going on right now. What's the end state for them? I mean, let's be honest. What's the best that Boasberg can help for to keep his job? Maybe, because I'm going to tell you, it's going to come with heavy ramifications, I think, politically for them. And no matter how he prevails or doesn't prevail, it's going to be a target on him, I think.
And what's crazy is Boasberg was a judge on the FISA court.
Yes.
So he understands this whole national security interest thing. Like he's more than the average judge.
He's read on.
And I've criticized FISA for being too much of a rubber stamp. Well, and by the way, it's Boasberg who I believe gave Kevin Kleinsmith, the lawyer who essentially doctored a FISA request, where they knew Carter Page had been turned by the CIA, was actually a CIA asset. They just completely get rid of that and essentially imply we think this guy's a Russian asset when they knew for a fact the CIA brought him in. And in fact, Carter Page did everything right. When the Russians approached him, he immediately went to the agency,
reported it,
and said, what do y'all want me to do with this? And so this Kevin Kleinsmith guy, it's amazing he's the one who had to take the fall, but he didn't really have to fall far.
No.
It was a slap on the wrist. Like what? They took away his law license.
It's amazing.
That was it.
It's amazing.
And that was Boasberg. So the lawfare is very real. The amount of cases are unreal. But I want to start with a very wise guy today who's, I don't mean wise guy like, oh, you're a wise guy. I mean,
my paisano.
He possesses wisdom, I think. And that is Victor Davis Hanson.
Yes.
He writes, and it's actually a fairly quick piece by Hanson Standards, Reflections on the Counter-Revolution in America. He writes, when Donald Trump entered office, he faced a number of choices that had confronted the last three Republican presidents, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, and George W. Bush. They all had the choice to either shrink government and reduce deficits or slow government growth while cutting taxes. They had the choice of using American power to restore deterrence by invading belligerents or targeting enemies without deploying ground troops to change government. Republicans could either impose tariffs to ensure trade balances and fair trade or argue that free, even if unfair trade, was in the U.S.'s interest by lowering consumer prices, keeping domestic producers competitive, and assuming foreign subsidies were unsustainable. They had the choice to either reverse the left-wing domination of culture or moderate its fated influence. They could have shut down the open border and eliminated illegal immigration or publicly condemned it, while tacitly maintaining an influx of hundreds of thousands per year for the corporate world rather than millions. In general, no Republican president of the last 50 years, even the sainted Ronald Reagan, sought to radically reduce the size of government and balance the budget. None closed the border and began deportations. None avoided optional ground wars while solely hitting aggression from the air. None led a cultural counter-revolution to reverse the left's long march through our institutions. Why? Because to have done so would have constituted a veritable cultural counter-revolution that would incur an unacceptable level of hatred and resistance from the entrenched left, defined by the nexus of the media, bureaucracies, campuses, foundations, Wall Street and Silicon Valley, and the Democratic Party. The latter were deemed just too formidable, the Democrats, and dangerous to confront in a single term, if ever. Or so it was felt by prior Republican administrations. So most stayed clear and sought to deregulate, cut taxes, keep illegal immigration to about 30,000 or so a month, and use rhetoric to oppose the left's cultural revolution. Not so with Trump. The target of 4 years of lawfare in his wilderness years, he has now become a true counter-revolutionary, determined not to slow down the progressive trajectory of the last 60 years, but to end it and return the U.S. to the center, at least as now defined by a balanced budget, reciprocal fair trade, full use of all modes of energy, a closed border, legal-only immigration, no optional ground wars abroad, and a fierce effort to end the woke DEI, ESG, Green New Deal, left-wing orthodoxy. The question now is, will it work? The left's revolution had become so deeply institutionalized that the once bizarre had become the politically correct norm. 3, not 2 sexes, illegal aliens de facto not different from American citizens, a country without borders, massive debt and trade imbalances propped up for years by near zero de facto interest rates, and nation building abroad as the country's interior at home was hollowed out. Trump is currently waging a 360-degree, 24/7 effort to undo at least the last 20 years of the most recent manifestation of the leftist cultural revolution inaugurated by Barack Obama. Given that war and the economy often determine the legacy of a president's tenure, Trump's success or failure will hinge on several factors. 4 of them, in fact. Number 1, flooding the zone. Can he achieve enough massive cuts to the federal workforce and federal spending to realistically project a balanced budget in 2 to 3 years? Can he use tariffs to adjudicate rough trade parity without panicking Wall Street and reduce our huge trade deficit while stimulating the economy through increased energy production, some tariff income, massive inflows of foreign capital and private sector jobs, deregulation and tax cuts? And in addition, can he end the war in Ukraine while denuclearizing Iran without blowing up the Middle East? The answers remain uncertain because no one has really attempted all of these measures simultaneously. Number 2, speed. Speed is of the essence. I've been saying that for months and months, even before Trump got elected.
Yeah, I remember that.
Speed is of the essence. He must see most of his major counter-revolutionary steps enacted this year while avoiding a recession before the midterms. Otherwise, he may see a new Democratic majority in the House in 2026 that will do nothing but issue subpoenas, conduct investigations, and impeach him. The Democrats seem to have little desire to offer a comprehensive counter-argument or agenda that would reflect their own ideas on how to achieve balanced budgets, a secure border, a deterrent foreign policy, fair trade, and a dynamic energy economy. For now, bizarrely, these new Jacobins are de facto Trump's allies by becoming so unhinged, often so repugnant in their smutty rhetoric and street violence, and so angry without constructive alternatives, that the counter-revolutionary Trump seems centrist in comparison. Now, let's go to number 3, and a third factor here, the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court must restore our constitutional tripartite government. The court must stop allowing the brazen lower court judiciary's hijacking of U.S. foreign policy and national security, and do it within the next month or so. Otherwise, a group of minor federal judges, some 300 to 400 unelected but cherry-picked liberal appointees, will essentially be running the country. Power has gone to their narcissistic heads, and they grow even more emboldened as special activist lawyers funded by foundations and political action committees. I wonder how much of them are getting federal dollars for all these grant programs, send them on an endless stream of marching orders and writs. Currently, a once unknown but now megalomaniacal judge, Boasberg, believes he is a more powerful adjudicator of U.S. foreign policy and national security than the combined power of the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor, and the President. And he may be right. Now, number 4, the fourth factor, no margin of error. Trump has no margin of error given thin congressional margins and the left-wing cultural juggernaut. So far, his nascent counter-revolution has been largely disciplined and well-managed, but he can afford no more avoidable psychodramas like the still inexplicable signal leak to the likes of a hyper-partisan Jeffrey Goldberg. Cabinet officials should grow more silent, but carry even bigger sticks. The entire message of Team Trump should be sober, even tragic, without braggadocio. The latest Fox interview by Brett Baer of a reflective, soft-spoken Elon Musk and his DOGE team did more to win the public over to their thankless but critical task than all the grandstanding on social media or chainsaw theatrics. Victor Davis Hands right that. I 100% agree. That's why we played the whole 30 minutes. That was fantastic. Keep going with that. They need to remind Americans that the Trump team did not open the border, but are now forced to close it if the country is to exist. The public needs to recall that it is recklessly easy to allow entry to 12 million illegal aliens, but almost impossible to find them all in a country of 345 million. It is not hard to borrow and spend, but it is unenviable and unpopular to cut and save. It is much less trouble in Washington to dine with and leak to media celebrities, become a power couple on the A-list, and play tit for tat and don't rock the boat, than to become a despised disruptor. On behalf of faraway people in rural Kansas or Alabama, along the southern border or in inner cities without lobbyists, national audiences, or a fat checkbook, it is easy to smile, pal around, and hand out money and commitments abroad at summits while foreign leaders welch on their military commitments and run up unsustainable trade surpluses with the U.S. But it is quite another thing to demand from our allies and neutrals trade parity, reciprocity, and keeping defense commitments as prime ministers in their state media damn you as either crazy or sinister. In sum, we are witnessing the greatest effort to reinvent, or rather, restore the U.S. since the first 100 days of FDR's radical New Deal revolution. It can succeed even against the street theater nihilism, mainstreamed vulgarity, neo-terrorism lawfare, and the congressional circus arrayed against it. But success hinges on speed and audacity, the rapid reassertion of its constitutional duties by the Supreme Court, constant discipline to prevent needless errors and leaks, calm and tragic explication and messaging rather than boastful high-fiving, and a constant reminder that their desperate opposition wishes to destroy this last effort to stop what has become sheer madness. Victor Davis Hanson laying it down like he always does. I think that sums up the moment we're in right now very, very well. And one guy, I finished a few weeks back, Walter Isaacson's book, biography of Elon Musk. Fantastic book. And it's not, he goes into the dirty details and the problems too. Elon has had the so-called demon mode and darkness that he seems to have inherited in part from his father, who really is a wretched person. That's putting it nicely.
Wow.
pretty awful guy. But one key character in that book, and say Musk's career, is like when Tesla's really having trouble. They've got these ridiculous supply chains splayed out all over the world, from Japan to Thailand, back to Japan to Britain, where they're. So it was like the whole reason we chose these batteries is so they were cheap. Our supply chain makes it just cost prohibitive, and so Tesla's a mess. He calls in a guy named Antonio Gracias. Antonio, great last name, Gracias. Antonio Gracias.
Very thankful.
And ever since Antonio came in and helped with Tesla, Antonio is the guy Musk leans on to like his SWAT team. Like, get in there, solve the problem. Like Gracias was brought in with X and with Twitter. He's brought in whenever it's like this. You want something done? Get Mr. Gracias.
He's a cleaner. He's a cleaner. Man. He's a cleaner.
Yep, it's great.
Operator.
Or what is in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
He's what, the wolf?
The wolf.
Yeah. It's very much
the hatchet man, whatever you want to be, you know. Yeah.
And so we're gonna have to hit a break in a second. But Elon Musk did a big town hall, I believe, in Wisconsin last night. And one of the more amazing portions of this town hall is when he brought on none other than Antonio Gracias, who I've not yet seen in political circles, just read about him in this book, to explain what they found in Social Security and explain how this ties into letting in millions of illegals into the country. I want to start with this. We won't play it all just now, but listen in.
Antonio is helping out with the Social Security. So just trying to review Social Security, where you may have heard that we found 20 million dead people marked as alive in the Social Security database. This is so crazy. And then you'll notice there's a strange trend here where how many Social Security numbers were issued. Do you want to?
Yeah, so let me tell you what happened here. We started at the top of the system.
You want to talk about a lot of it?
We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security to understand where all the fraud was. And there's a lot of great people there that showed us really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff they're working on. You've heard some of that already, but this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah.
Wow. And so I've got it full screened here on the live stream. If folks are out there just listening, it's about 270,000 new non-citizen Social Security numbers issued. Goes up to about 390 in 22. Goes up to just shy of 1 million in 23. In fiscal year 24, it goes to about 2.1 million.
Yep.
New non-citizen Social Security numbers issued.
That trend is clearly an inside job.
Yeah,
there's no other way around it.
Yeah.
This was intentional and by design.
So let's there's ramifications for all these being issued. Let's listen in.
Just this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. And this isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. Yeah, this country's been great to us. My brother and sister all born in Spain.
Gracias, sir.
I'm pro-legal immigration.
He's thankful. He's very thankful.
This is not political. This is not political.
All right.
This is about America and the future of America. And there are a lot of good people in the system that pointed this in this direction. I want to honor them right now. That work in the government today, who took risks to show us these numbers and tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
So I want to stop for a minute. I want to honor those people today. Very good people.
The right way to do it.
People. I have been from DC to Social Security offices to the border to track this down, and very good people have helped us along the way. I want to thank them.
Yeah.
This number, what this is when you come in the country, if you're an illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid, and they'll give you an asylum case. You'll get an interview, then you get in. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. Elon was there too. I went to Laredo, and I went to Bronzeville. Elon went to Eagle Pass. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border. They do what's called a release from your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, notice to appear, which to appear to judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. There's only 700 of them. This is 5.5 million people.
Wow.
Okay? So what happens then? Once you're in the country and you got asylum through one of these pathways, and we map the whole thing out, you can apply for a work document. You file a 765, it's the work form. You get this form called the 766, that's the authorization, and then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview, no ID.
This is worth just reiterating. It's not people sometimes think that under the Biden administration that he was simply asleep at the switch. He wasn't asleep.
No.
They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape.
Look, if I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not sure I'd have believed it. I went through it myself and mapped it, and Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion, max pay for these people.
Wow.
And minimum collection. That's what's happening. We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid, as an example. We've gone through on every benefit program we went through, we found groups from this particular group of people, this 5.5 million people in those benefit programs. And then what was really, really disturbing us was why. We're asking ourselves why. Right. And so we actually just took a sample and looked at voter registration records. And we found people here registered to vote in this population, yes.
And who did vote.
And we found some by sampling that actually did vote. And we have referred them to prosecution at the Homeland Security Investigation Service.
Yeah.
Already, that is already happening right now. Yeah. And the truly disturbing thing, though, I just want you to know this, a truly disturbing thing to me, and the darkest thing about this to me, the voter fraud is terrible, but the human tragedy this created is extraordinary.
Been saying this for a while.
Yeah. What you don't understand, and people don't know, and Americans need to know, that's why I'm here, is that human traffickers made $13 to $15 billion off of this. Okay? That's the money that's going around the world, moving people around the world to our borders because of these incentives. How does it work? What happens?
By the way, as I'm listening to this morning, I'm listening with my grandfather over the breakfast table, and he goes, "Well, they're like poor immigrants. How are they paying for that? Billions of dollars. How does it even work, Joe?" And I said, "Just keep listening."
Hey, if you're in Africa and you're in South America, you got to walk up through Mexico, through America. Who do you pay? You pay the narcos. You pay the traffickers, right? And we were told by ICE, it's between $20,000 and $500, depends where they pick you up, to walk across all those countries and get all the way up to the border. Where's that money goes? It goes to the cartels. It goes to human traffickers, right? There are 30,000 children that have not appeared on the notice to appear already. ICE knows this. 30,000 children, 270,000 children didn't even get notices to appear. ICE told us that kids are being trafficked back and forth across the border to complete families to make this easier. This is a human tragedy. It's not just the money, it's the people and the kids. And how many of these people died on the way up here that didn't make it in? What happened to them? We created a system here that created an incentive for people to come and be taken advantage of by these traffickers. And how do you think they get paid? Well, you're in Africa, Central America, you got $20,000 or $10,000 or $5,000 to pay these traffickers? No, you don't. What happens? You come in, then you owe them the money.
Yep.
You're an indentured servant.
Yep.
If you don't pay them, what happens? What do? They kill your mother, they kill your brother, they kill your family. What happens next? That's what we discovered.
That's only halfway of this clip. Gracias, Mr. Gracias.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thankful.
No, and it is kind of, just for me, interesting seeing this character, this guy in this book, in this story of Musk's own life and success, and now seeing that guy I read about, like, actually in action. It's fantastic.
What's his background? I mean, you said that he's been with since Tesla. What do you know about him? Is he an economist? What's his background?
More just kind of a top flight business guy.
Okay, that's cool. I'm just curious. He seems sharp. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's quite he's quite into all the business world. He's sort of that top flight consultant type.
He's like a TED speaker.
Right. And so in a way, he's kind of a, how would I put it, a polymath. But he's the founder and CEO of Chicago-based growth equity firm Valor Equity Partners. So this is what I mean. It's like top flight finance business, kind of knows the ins and outs of every aspect of, say, organization. These are impressive people, and he seriously is the guy Elon would always call to be like, okay, bring your guys in. We got to come and figure this out together. We got to hit a break here. First, though, this part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting, and their River Region Contracting. Todd Clark and the team are ready to help you with that roof of yours. Days like today make you particularly nervous about that roof. Could be recently got inspected, everything was fine. Then you're hearing like all these bumps as the storm front comes through. You're like, you going to climb up there yourself?
No.
Even if you do climb up there yourself, what are you looking for?
Well, hopefully
I'm looking for a hole.
Something incredibly obvious.
Yeah, but you're probably not going to catch the subtle problems that fester with time.
Right.
And so why not call up River Region Contracting? And the great news is their inspections are always free, as are their estimates. So they do find a problem, they'll write up that estimate for free, and their insurance specialists. So they can walk you through that insurance claims process. I know it's always like, well, I paid in this thing, but I hate having to fight with the insurance company. Why not have River Region Contracting fight on your behalf? Call them up today. That number, 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell Todd Clark and the team there that Joey and Eddie and Troy, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama, directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit AlabamaSheriff'sYouthRanches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. When you call Alabama Home Mortgage, from the moment we pick up the phone, you will hear the difference. We are passionate about what we do. To us, you're not just another applicant. When you call on us, you are trusting that we have your best interest at heart, and we do. We treat our customers like family, and that's why our customers turn into family, coming back to us time and time again. We know you have many options when it comes to mortgage financing, and we appreciate the opportunity to earn your business. We are excited to hear from you. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our passion is just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-368, Equal Housing Lender.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Pestruccelli, General Sales Manager and co-owner of Blue Water Broadcasting. For over 21 years, Blue Water Broadcasting has been a proud part of the River region. We're not just a company, we're your neighbors. Our owners, air staff, account executives, and support team all live right here. We believe in this community, and we stand by our slogan, Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Wall Street is following global markets lower ahead of the Trump administration's latest tariff rollout later this week. Tesla's woes continue as Elon Musk's electric car company slid 6.1%. Tesla is down 42% since President Trump took office. Shares of mortgage company Rocket fell 3.5% after it announced it's buying competitor Mr. Cooper, an all-stock deal valued at $9.4 billion. Mr. Cooper shares soared more than 26%. France's antitrust watchdog is fining Apple $162 million over a privacy feature found to violate the EU's anti-monopoly statutes. The ruling hasn't had too much of an impact on Apple's stock prices. Chinese telecom gear giant Huawei says net profit fell 28% in 2024, while revenue surged. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. The severe weather threat is over. Showers and storms will be edging out of the area and out of the state, so look for improvement this afternoon with a high temperature up to about 78. Partly cloudy tonight, cooler, overnight low temperature down to about 52. Tomorrow, April begins on a nice note with plenty of sunshine and a high temperature up to about 81. I think we'll be in the upper 80s on Wednesday and Thursday and maybe teasing 90 degrees with mostly sunny skies on Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
The premier place the River Region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
What the hell are we doing here?
We are behaving the way a superpower ought to behave.
Well, our behavior has produced some crappy results.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Look, Eddie Vader, looking very, I like that Auburn.
You like that
button up, man?
I get some attention right there.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Troy Churchill also in the studio. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Did y'all see that Musk XAI bought X for $33 million?
Yep.
Yeah, essentially like bought it all into as one big company, which is, I think, only we've been talking off air about Grok, using the Grok AI, client, and it is fantastic. And it's been become, I think, more of a powerhouse because it's taking more real-time data, though it is unnerving how quickly this technology is moving.
Well, I saw that it was also, he was touting that it was the most downloaded app.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the proof's in the pudding. You know?
It really is a great research tool.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm not in the coding or math world or having to create graphs and say scientific breakdowns. So like but apparently it's very effective on that side of the ledger. And then it's very useful for me for, we were just talking about consuming big weighty books I don't have time to read. Just give me summaries and extra follow-up stuff to read, or analyze this essay I just wrote. What are the weaknesses of it? How could I strengthen it? And it's a better search engine than Google could ever be at this point. So I'm loving it.
Next time the legislature sticks out a bill that's 300 pages,
right?
Just run it through.
Run it through there.
Yep.
It's still not perfect. Like if you I've noticed sometimes it'll still make mistakes, Like I did a quote that Walter Isaacson himself uses that's from Shakespeare's Measure for Measure, and it's, oh, that's from Macbeth. I'm like, no, it's not. Oh, thank you for correcting me.
It does that.
So you
It's
do
very
need to
polite.
double check it on things, but
very
it's
polite,
I like it. I like it a lot. Let's go to Urbanite. How you
Hey,
doing?
Urbanite.
Yeah, hey, in the last segment, you showed all the malfeasance that's been going on with the immigration program.
Yeah, we got more coming
And
up.
I was wondering, speaking of AI, who determined the order of PR release today? You know, the Trump story about him winning the third term was cute and it's irritating to liberals, but it did nothing to move the needle towards the midterm. The thing you just ran about all the crap going on in immigration is what you should have led with. Or why wasn't that a preference on the main media, what the main media say?
I mean, it's sort of a scattershot environment with the media today.
Well, yeah, and the liberals are not going to give that kind of red meat to the public. I get that. So why aren't conservatives giving that red meat to the public?
We literally are.
Yeah, but how many programs have ran what you ran?
Well, but who cares when this video has 5.1 million views I'm playing from?
Only 5.1 million views.
That's just on one nexus of it. Like, I'm having trouble understanding your point here.
Okay, what constitutes viral to you?
Millions of views. The most viral being hundreds of millions.
Okay. Well, I guess we're speaking the same language, but I think at a different level. I think viral means something like 20 million plus.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. But like, I'm just bringing up the Trump third term thing because it made me smile. And
how many
and brought it up?
people
It was a potpourri of a lot of things Trump has said recently.
How many people heard the third term thing over that immigration?
If they continue to believe the corporate media, they're going, that's what they heard.
Yeah. So what do you think could have been done different here? I'm trying to understand. I mean, I hear you, and I think you got good points. But what would you have done differently?
The smoking bomb with the immigration crap should have led the news cycle.
Okay.
Not the third term stuff.
Well, we don't control a lot of the news cycle.
Yeah, I get that.
So it's a divided world in that regard.
I hear you. All right, then.
See you, everybody.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and like this clip, and I'm going to keep going with the video here. Not only, that one post has 5.1 million views. You need to now go look at everybody who reposted it.
Yeah.
How many folks say like Joe Rogan then in the next few weeks talk about this? And so this is the same mechanism that I think won the election. I think Trump's team did genius stuff about let's get out the vote with the depressed voter who's never voted before, especially young people and young men, even more in particular. But then it's also using the mechanisms of this new media to really push out a message, no matter what CBS, NBC, or anybody says. And Trump, of course, still plays ball with them. He did this whole thing with Kristen Welker we could get into, where he gave her a bunch of quotes. Then he's like, she's so terrible. Meet the depressed. It's so awful. She was on Signal Gate for 30 minutes. She couldn't even get to all the other great things we're doing. So the media environment is weird right now. I'll give Urbanite that point.
No, I will too. And I think we've talked about this ad nauseum the relevancy of it has been diminished, but it's still a powerful player, right? And I think the key for this administration and for the future of America is how do we continue to mitigate some of that cycle, as they talk about, that has definitely been a fifth estate here.
Absolutely. So, I think this Signal thing was their first big, they actually got a viral moment.
It was.
They've been trying with a bunch of other stuff. Yeah. And again, I don't know the origins of that. How the heck does that even happen?
That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you right now that is a commercial application that they are putting official, and that's not just official. This is classified stuff that's on there. So, yeah.
Well, let's continue on a little bit here with this video. Again, this is Antonio Gracias with Elon Musk. It was a big town hall in Wisconsin last night.
And I have to tell you, it's tragic to me. The human tragedy this created is extraordinary. That's the real problem. This is America. We don't do this here in America.
Yeah.
We don't do this here in America. People come here legally, and that's great. Elon came here legally. My parents came here legally. That's the way to do it. This is outrageous.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, you can see, because there's still actually a lot of people out there, especially in the sort of center third of the country, that somehow think this is made up by the right, or it's like some fiction. It's not, that it's somehow not true, but it is absolutely true. And you can see that if you look at things like the state of New York, which tried to make it legal for illegal immigrants to vote in the state of New York. That was only shut down by the New York Supreme Court a few weeks ago. And California has made it health care available to all illegals in the state. And they initially claimed that it would only cost $3 billion. It's now $9 billion and climbing. So it's really, if you create a massive financial incentive for people to come to the United States illegally, then that's what they will do. It's a very sort of,
exactly right.
It'd be strange, it'd be odd if that didn't happen. So the thing that actually has the Democrats losing their mind by far, the real reason for these attacks and sort of the burning of the cars and everything is that we're going to turn off the payments to illegals.
Yes.
Because, yeah, I mean, because that's not the deal. You know, it's simply not right. You know, if you look at that thing with the Roosevelt Hotel and, like, you know, the luxury hotels in New York, where the Federal Emergency Management Agency funds were being used to house illegals in luxury hotels in New York that the average American can't afford. And they were giving a welcome package and $10,000 debit cards and everything else. Like, it's super real. I mean, it's like I think it's the biggest voter fraud thing in history by far. And moreover, if left unchecked, it would have succeeded. As Antonio mentioned, the time frame for going from asylum to citizen is roughly 5 years.
Yeah.
And so all of the people that came in on that chart that you saw, if the machine behind the Kamala puppet had won, then, you know, they change out the puppet, but it's the same machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Then they would have actually legalized all those people, and there would be no swing states.
Yep.
And we added more. Remember, it was doubling every year.
Yes.
It went from 1 million to 2 million.
It was going ballistic.
It was going ballistic. And it is just, these people are just entering the benefit programs now, by the way.
Right.
We're seeing the ramp happen too. And these are just the ones that are in the system. This doesn't count the other, 7.5, 8 million that ICE thinks are out there.
Yeah.
We don't know if they have numbers. The number is totally uncontrolled. The voter ID requirement in this state is super important because of this.
Yes.
Because the social security number, it's not supposed to be a federal ID number, but it basically is. That's
Yep.
how you access all the benefits. This is why we need voter ID, because this thing is not secure. You could walk into a social security office today as an adult in America, and get a social security number enumerated with simply answering 6 or 7 simple questions and showing some forms of ID that are not federal ID.
Well, you can just actually make it up. Basically, you can show basically like a fake utility bill, or
You can show a medical bill and a school ID.
Yeah,
Yes.
medical bill and school ID, and you can get a
That's an
social security number.
Yes.
Man, it's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy.
You know what's funny, Joey, is I'm listening to this. And again, I'm not trying to stoke conspiracy ideas or anything, but the stolen elections is very real. This all feeds all these numbers, all these.
When you see these numbers,
that tells you how you can make a swing in about an hour of 20% gaining votes if you have it.
It's astounding. Let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Austin Baranka with Invista Advisors. Hey, Austin, how you doing today, man?
Having a great day. What about you and Eddie?
Oh, we're hanging in there. Also got Troy Carrico here in the studio with us. So we're I'm carrying on like the wayward son I am. It's a classic rock DJ reference. I was this morning, Austin, looking at different predictions that are coming out for the economy and inflation, and it almost seems to me that some of this is like, if whether or not you believe in what the Trump administration is doing, or you wish the Biden was still in office. I have hope that there are analysts out there that are trying to look at this irregardless of the politics. But I mean, when I see these early predictions of what might happen with inflation or jobs or whatnot, I mean, how should I be thinking about these things?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned predictions. I met with an analyst out of Chicago last week who I have a lot of faith in, and I asked him, hey, where do we think we end the year on the S&P? Just give me a number. And he's like, Austin, he's like, as an analyst, I'm going to show you the data I gathered to come to a number and let you decide. And he pulled up a range of 20 different financial analysts with all different stops around the country. You name it, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, different banks and brokers. And the range of predictions was the S&P to end above 7,000 and some of them in the 4,000 range, which is just a massive dispersion for people that call themselves professionals. And the truth is, it's basically a gamble. Making a prediction on where this market ends can only be done with every factor in place, and not everyone can factor everything in all at once. And so my prediction, without getting a specific number on where we end the year with the S&P, is more about what do we think the longer-term effects of the current administration are going to be. Because I certainly think anyone that would argue that the immediate effects are going to be tough is blind. So I think the immediate effects are we do leg down. You're continuing to see that today. We've been in a very volatile cycle over the last 3 weeks. I think that continues well into the second quarter. And then I think that by maybe early to mid-year next year, we start to see a light at the end of the tunnel. And, before this 4-year term is over, we begin to get back on our feet. But we've been having this discussion a couple times a week for the last however many weeks, Joey, you and I and Eddie. And we've known, he stepped into a really difficult situation. The way that the previous administrations have run this country, and I'm not just pinpointing one or two previous administrations. I'm talking about the cycle and the machine of the U.S. government and how complacent we've got with just raising the debt ceiling, giving out subsidies to anyone and everyone, and doing it all under, the taxpayer dollar is something that we hadn't really looked ourselves in the mirror and said this has to change until the current administration. And the pain that comes along with that is evident, and it's not about to stop in the short term. It's going to get tougher. Tariffs are going to, make it a lot more difficult to purchase things that we care about. Cars primarily is a hot topic of last week, but there will be more that we talk about. And then I think that eventually this inflation thing, and excuse me, I got a lawnmower in the background here. Bear with me for a second. There it goes. But yeah, so, you got tariffs are going to be a problem, and they're going to lay off a lot of government employees that'll have to cycle their way into the private market. So the private employment market is going to get a lot more competitive. I think that's going to be a pain point for a lot of people in the middle and lower class. And at the end of the day, though, these things have to get done so that we do not continue to kick the can down the road with regards to inflation and overpaying subsidies and, hurting the United States taxpayers. So that's my take on it. I think short-term pain, long-term, we're going to be fine. As it pertains to building your own investment portfolio, you've got to do it with the lens of your specific scenario. If you're older and about to retire, now is not the time to be choosing speculative stocks to try to make a quick buck. This is one of the most dangerous times to be doing that. So if you're a listener and you're approaching retirement, you need a plan in place that manages risk. And if you're someone that's our age, Joey, in your 30s, all right, you can plan to take a little bit of risk, but why would you do so in the immediate term when you know that there is a lot of carnage to come in the market? So that's really what I'm trying to get through my clients and prospects' heads right now, is just plan your investment strategy around a risk tolerance, because right now there's a lot of risk out there, and if you don't have a tolerance in place, it could end up hurting significantly.
Well, and folks, when it comes to not only your investment strategy, but also just your holistic financial planning, like planning your financial future, you got to go with Austin Branco and the entire team there at Invista Advisors. I thought, number one, that's just a fantastic answer. Great stuff there, Austin. And it's this sort of thinking, like we not only talk about this on air, I know y'all at Invista are constantly looking at the latest things, looking at from all different angles. And folks, again, if you're looking for a team that can help you plan and secure your financial future, call up Invista Advisors at 387-0094. That's 387-0094. And be sure to tell them when you call up that, hey, I heard Austin Branco on the radio with Joey Clark. I want to see what y'all can do for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joey, and y'all have a great week.
You too, sir. Again, that's Austin Baranko with Invista Advisors.
The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions expressed in this material do not necessarily reflect the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Invista Advisors, registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
Second hour coming up after this.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The death toll in last week's massive earthquake in Myanmar has now passed 2,000. A French court has convicted Marine Le Pen of embezzlement and barred her from seeking public office for 5 years. The ruling was a hammer blow to the conservative leader's presidential hopes and an earthquake for French politics. Le Pen's lawyer said she would appeal the verdict, but she will remain ineligible while she does. A 7.0 magnitude earthquake has caused slight damage in Tonga and brief evacuations before the threat of a tsunami passed. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center in Hawaii issued a notice after the first quake saying hazardous waves were possible, but the threat passed with only minor sea changes. On Wall Street, stocks remain mixed. The Dow had 67, the Nasdaq losing 200 points. This is SRN News.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I've been thinking, why does it feel like losing weight is harder than ever before? With mixed messages, fad diets, the quick fix injections, even magic coffee. I mean, it's overwhelming. Most people are exhausted trying to fight a battle they cannot win. If you feel this way, trust me, you're not alone. I used to feel that way too. But let me tell you, it's not your fault. Your body is working against you, and the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Do what I did. I called PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition 3 years ago. I lost 53 pounds. I feel terrific, and I've kept the weight off. Make the phone call that can change your life the way it has changed mine. They won't let you fail. Call 855-696-2020. That's 855-696-2020 to schedule your consultation. The first 11 callers who mentioned the word healthy will get 2 free weeks added to their weight loss package. Call now, 855-696-2020. Mention the keyword healthy to get 2 free weeks. Or visit them at myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. It's time to get those gardens ready. From seeds to plants to fertilizer, MPM has what you need. Shop MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 1.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. The severe weather threat is over. Showers and storms will be edging out of the area and out of the state, so look for improvement this afternoon with a high temperature up to about 78. Partly cloudy tonight, cooler, overnight low temperature down to about 52. Tomorrow, April begins on a nice note with plenty of sunshine and a high temperature up to about 81. I think we'll be in the upper 80s on Wednesday and Thursday and maybe teasing 90 degrees with mostly sunny skies on Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
You can make your ASC loan payments from your phone anytime, anywhere. It's quick and easy. www.yourasccu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
ASC Credit Union. Your life, your cause, your ASC.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. A woman and 2 juveniles are under arrest in connection to multiple armed robberies in Montgomery. 23-year-old Demetrius Reed and the 2 unidentified minors are each charged with 4 counts of first-degree robbery. The charges stem from several robberies of individuals that happened Wednesday and Thursday in Montgomery. Valiant Cross Academy is planning to open an elementary school in the heart of downtown Montgomery. The private Christian school for boys will be located in the old Pizitz building at Court Square near the fountain on Dexter Avenue. Valiant Cross will begin kindergarten through 2nd grade classes this fall, with plans to add 1 grade per year to become a K-5 school. The number 1 overall seed Auburn Tigers punched their ticket to the NCAA men's basketball Final Four with a 70-64 win over Michigan State on Sunday. The Tigers will face a familiar SEC foe next, taking on the number 1 seed and West Region champion Florida Gators on Saturday, April 5th at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
It's the best sale of the season during CAFCO's Spring Open House. Save on Easter and home decor, floral supplies, and gifts. Find inspiration for your home in our new merchandise. Visit daily for door prices, new deals, and surprises throughout the store. Saturday, join us 10:30 for a wreath-making demo by Karen Gresham and music by Brian Brantley, noon till 3. Shop our Spring Open House Thursday through Saturday from 9 till 5 for huge savings on our already low outlet pricing. CAFCO Outlet on the Wetumpka Highway.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. You're thinking of selling your home. Here are several ways to improve the look of your home and possibly the value. Number 1, improve the curb appeal with trim bushes and cut the grass. Repaint the exterior where needed, and if needed, paint your front door. Number 2, declutter the inside of the home by removing items that are not needed off countertops, dressers, and the den. 3, paint walls and trim where needed with a fresh coat of paint in a light color that will show off your home. 4, clean your oven and microwave inside and out, make it shine. Number 5, professionally clean carpets or shine the wood floors with a polish or Bona. 6, clean out all closets or unwanted clothes, shoes, belts, hats, and donate them to a local charity. Finish any leftover repairs now, doorknobs, light bulbs, and closet doors. For a complete list and an in-person evaluation and consultation, call Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group, 221-2883 or 551-0225.
The 21st Annual Autism Crawfish Boil, benefiting Easter Seals of Central Alabama, is April 5th at Riverwalk Stadium. Proceeds from this fun family event benefit autism programs at Easter Seals of Central Alabama. Enjoy all-you-can-eat crawfish, live music, and even a baseball game. The Autism Crawfish Boil, April 5th at Riverwalk Stadium. Stay and eat or grab them and go. Scan or visit mudbugball.com to purchase tickets and get info on curbside pickup.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's Conversational Radio Show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Is cocaine a stronger up?
Yeah.
So you're way up with cocaine more than anything else you can think of.
Cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Joey Clark.
Oh, welcome back to the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Troy Carrico in the studio, as is Eddie Bader. And, well, I kind of want to talk more of the military this hour.
All right.
Because there's a lot coming out. First, though, I want to start on something local here you brought to my attention. The license plates, right?
Yes.
Let's get into that. This is something that if folks want to support this, these are PTSD car tags. And so explain like how these can help folks out.
So my good friend Bo Armistead, he has a nonprofit counseling center for, and this is important, it's not just for veterans, it's for first responders.
Okay.
And these people that, and law enforcement, fire, and military, and other, they will consider case by case, but they're wanting to highlight, Joey, and I know you're big on this, and I am too, on mental health, the mental health piece of it. So what they've done is they've started a drive, and I guess in the state of Alabama, it takes about 1,000 people to pre-register to purchase the plates. Okay, so they're up over 500, but they've hit a wall. So I would urge anyone that's out there that really wants to help, to go ahead and check out the site. And I think you can pull it up online there. I sent you the link. If you could put it out for our listeners, I guess, maybe eventually. The thing is, go on there, take a look at it. It's got a picture of the plate. And here's the bbest part. So maybe you just went ahead and you renewed like I did last month. Doesn't matter. What'll happen is you'll get a voucher once you pre-register, and if they accept the 1,000 signatures by May, then they'll send you a voucher, and then you can go into any DMV, turn it in, and they'll exchange your plate out for you.
So, the website to go to direct is like the letter ATs.org.
That's right.
ATs.org. And you can go ahead and pre-register and learn more information yourself. It starts with this fact on top of the website. Did you know 70% of people will experience a traumatic event in life, and 6 out of every 100 adults are living with PTSD.
Wow.
And so if you want to help support this cause, again, that's ATs.org. ATs is all one word, ATs.org, and sign up. Let's get this happening.
Thank you.
And now I'm sure you saw last week J.D. Vance, the vice president, going to Quantico and talking to Marines and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Hegseth just said, "Hey, we just released a new Marines recruiting video. Let's watch this together, shall we, fellas?"
We care about excellence and we care about patriotism. And if you are awesome and you are a patriotic Marine, then we are going to do everything that we can to make you the most lethal fighting force the world has ever seen. And that is what we're doing every single day. No more quotas, no more ridiculous mumbo jumbo, no more diversity training. We believe the real strength and the real diversity in the United States Marine Corps is that you all come from every walk of life, come from every corner of America, and you have got the strength and the purpose to win the nation's wars, and that is what the Marine Corps is going to do, just like it's done for damn near 250 years.
I mean, that's pretty effective.
That's pretty inspirational,
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That's piss and vinegar, as we
That's
say.
exactly
And
right.
if you're just listening, folks, you're seeing images of JD at Quantico, and he's in full uniform, firing down range. Like,
it's awesome.
And so many of the little moments you saw in that, where he was joining people at the lunch for lunch and whatnot, just seeing him casually show up, and I'm really liking the vice president at this point. I think he's got to watch that guy.
Yeah, and I think that Hegseth kind of followed in this. He went out and did PT with the 101st, my old unit, which my shirt's today.
I mean, as a guy who's lived that life, what does that mean
It's a
to
big
you?
deal. It's a big deal. What it means is you're going to the field and doing the dirty, the calisthenics, the push-ups, the run, and it is fraternization in a good way,
right?
And it's comrade. And hey, listen, if you've got your Secretary of Defense down there who's a former Rakissan like I was, that's a big deal to those dudes. I mean, they're and girls. It is a bona fide. It makes them have bona fides in our world. So
Well, and I imagine the recruiting numbers are
they are. They've
really
going up
improving.
very well.
They've improved.
Yeah.
Well, it's beautiful to see.
Speaking of which, on the recruiting, I'm going to send you a video here in a minute. Have you guys seen the video? It's a compare and contrast between a Russian recruiting video versus an American.
Oh, I have not.
Wait, is this when it was like the woke American one versus?
I'd like to think that I was on the front lines of freedom with my two mothers fighting for. Did you see that? Listen,
no, and then the Russian one is just like dudes.
It's like Stalin's building machines to fight, and then it's like you look at it and you go, "Wow, that's how we are."
Well, it does go a long way to explain why we had such recruitment problems during that process too.
Listen, man, I'm telling you this. It really started back in the Gulf War, after the Gulf War, when we were in that global war on terrorism, sustaining all these. And listen, people don't know this. Over half of the combat power in the military is reservist and National Guardsmen. So the fact of the matter is, it kind of wore out a lot of people's the problem wasn't recruiting as much as it was retaining. People were leaving when they were done with their commitment. So yeah, I think we've seen this. What makes America's military great? It's an all-volunteer force. Listen, guys, that I can't overstate that enough. So now you got people wanting to be back in, and that's great. So
272-9228. And this video was put out this morning by the Secretary of Defense. We just mentioned Pete Hegseth. Let's listen in to what he's doing today.
Hey everybody, Pete Hegseth here. We're about to land in Washington, D.C. on our way back from Japan, where we've been meeting with the troops, talking to allies and partners, reestablishing deterrence in the Indo-Pacific. It's Sunday, but of course we're still working. I want to show you one thing. It's a new memorandum that's coming out today on combat arms standards. You see, for far too long, we allowed standards to slip, and different standards for men and women in combat arms MOSs and jobs. That's not acceptable. We need to have the same standard, male or female, in our combat roles to ensure our men and women who are under our leaders or in those formations have the best possible leaders and the highest possible standards that are not based at all on your sex, if you're a man or a woman. So we're signing this, I'm signing this memorandum today. The services will review, and soon we will have nothing but the highest and equal standards for men and women in combat.
So what do we think of this?
Spot on, man. It's about time. It's about time.
Was it really that bad, that like the different standards?
I think so. Yeah. Here's what I know. For instance, let me give you a case in point. Airborne school, when you go to the Army Airborne School, back in the day, I'm talking 80s, 90s, there were no females because there's no need for female in that combat arms piece of that, which is airborne. And the standards were much harder. And then when the women were brought into the units, we did what's called the airborne shuffle, which is just like 8-minute mile. You know, you're just kind of jogging along.
8-minute mile.
Yeah. Standard. Just saying, because you got a formation you're running with. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But it
That's
used
still,
to be. No, that's still terrible. Right.
The
Standards, though. The standards are the standards. The problem is the people that are grading. Here's the thing: your body mass index.
Yeah.
A lot of, like I was always over on body mass index because I worked out. And but the thing is this: it depends on who's checking you and who's validating it. So what's happened is we had a rot starting to occur inside the military with just what we call the fat boy program and stuff, and just let them stay on.
Let them stay in.
Yeah. So
yeah, I just watched
it
over.
should not be the case.
Over the weekend, I just got into. He does a lot of fitness stuff, but he's a rock climber. Magnus something, I think is the guy's name. But he's done several videos. One with the Norwegian Special Forces, and he just did one with the. He went through the whole. Like the hell that you go through. It's not like quite hell week as Bud's, but like, I want to join the French Foreign Legion.
Oh man, listen, that's what I wanted to do when I was a kid. I read Soldier of Fortune magazine. I wanted to be a Legionnaire. It's a tough life.
And he like they allowed him full access, like he was going to be in the program. He actually is so good and in shape and mentally strong. They're like, if you were actually a recruit, you would have been in the top 5. We would have taken you. It is unreal. At one point, I mean, you're talking about a 27-kilometer hike in the darkness. He did very well on. You're talking about a lot of endurance and stuff. But after you get to like the end, it's just a bunch of guys with boxing gloves that beat the crap out of you. It's like, stay up. And I'm like, okay, this is unreal.
There's a book I urge you to read. It's a quick read. It's written by a guy named Chris. I can't remember his last name, but I'll find it for you. It's called A Mouth of Rocks. And it's about a Legionnaire that was in the British Special Air Service and joined the Legion to become a mercenary. And the reason it's called A Mouth of Rocks, he said every day when they would do PT, they'd put gravel in their mouth and make them run and do push-ups and stuff. I'm like, that's hardcore.
Yeah, so much of it is clearly like, okay, you got to be physically fit, but at a certain point, it goes into the mental.
Yeah, and that's the thing, guys. When I went to Ranger School, we lost about half of our class at Ranger School simply because of injuries and people just tapping out, ringing the bell. And here's the thing. I swear to you, when I was a company commander in the infantry, we would run 3 to 5 miles a day for PT. And one day I just did a mental experiment. I told my first sergeant, I said, let's watch this. So they knew where we were running, and I told them we were running the 3-mile track. So they knew where that 3-mile mark was at. And I said, man, I feel good. Let's run another 2 miles, and watch the people start peeling out. They just, I was only going to go 200 yards down the road, but it proved the point, man.
That's what they did in this, where it was like it was 400 meters and run so many laps. And when you could see guys as they think they're done, go, no, keep running. You see the defeat.
That's
like these huge, like ripped, like thick guys are like, no, I don't want to keep going. It's what a life. And it's good to see, I think, youthful communicators at the top of leadership positions.
Absolutely.
Really welcoming people back in and trying at least to recapture that spirit. As far as the actual geopolitics go, Trump saying over the weekend, I'm really pissed at Putin. Which I'm like,
I
yeah.
I did see that. I should mention that.
You saw the pissed at Putin thing?
Yeah.
No, very angry over
cracked me up.
Putin's comments. He's now vowing to hit Russian oil with extra tariffs. He told Kristen Welker, NBC News' Kristen Welker, that he was pissed and very angry after Putin claimed Zelensky is not a legitimate leader. If I were in the midst of a negotiation, you could say that I was very angry, pissed off when Putin said yesterday, when Putin started getting into Zelensky's credibility, because that's not going in the right location. You understand? If Russia and I are unable to make a deal on stopping the bloodshed in Ukraine, and if I think it was Russia's fault, which it might not be, but if I think it was Russia's fault, I'm going to put secondary tariffs on oil, on all oil coming out of Russia. Woo. There will be a 25% tariff on all oil, a 25 to 50 point tariff on all oil. So he just keeps going up as he keeps talking. Of course, Putin recently demanded for the establishment of a transitional government in Ukraine, which could potentially replace Zelensky. He also saw Zelensky pulling out and saying, no, I don't want to do the rare earth deal. Trump also hitting him hard. I don't want to do the rare earth, the mineral deal. In fact, I want to be part of NATO. So you see both leaders of Ukraine and Russia sort of pushing away from the negotiations, going, no, we don't want to do this.
I think both of them are trying to fill out and shape the battlefield and see what's Trump going to come back with and offer and say and do. So, I think there's a little bit of jockeying for position there.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, I want this to be resolved, but it does not. I mean, Trump's boast during the campaign, I'll do it in a day. Yeah, right. And if the Russians truly believe we're still in a position of strength here, they're going to negotiate accordingly if they believe it.
So I say this, when people about 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago, when the war started, I was talking to a good friend of mine. He's a colonel and he's very bright, but he said, no way, no how is, Putin going to invade. And I'm looking at the orders of battle that are around there. I go, he is, because you're thinking like a Westerner. You got to think like him.
Yep.
And the thing is this: what has he learned over the last 25 years, 30 years in power? Be outrageous, make these demands on the West, and they will yield. And that's what he's trying to do with Trump right now and Zelensky. So we'll see how that plays out at the table.
Also, in the geopolitical world, Iran has rejected talks with the United States on Sunday as President Trump threatened to bomb the country as, quote, never seen before to prevent the terror-supporting state from becoming a nuclear-armed power. Trump said in early March that he had sent a letter to the so-called Islamic Republic's supreme leader proposing direct talks over Iran's nuclear program in order to prevent a military confrontation after Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen continued to launch missiles at Israel, as well as the U.S. Navy and international shipping in the Red Sea. Trump said that Iran would be held directly accountable for the actions of its proxy. The Associated Press reported that Iran had rejected Trump's offer and that Trump threatened bombing in response. Iran's president said Sunday that the Islamic Republic rejected direct negotiations with the United States over its rapidly advancing nuclear program. Okay. Even in that official public statement, direct negotiations means they're talking.
Oh yeah, there's back
back
channel right now through. I think the Swiss are handling most of the communications there. But here's the thing: when you're watching this, watch what Israel does. I can tell you right now, there are several courses of action for them to go knock out the reactors and the stuff. This has been rehearsed ad nauseum. So,
but they need the U.S. to be able to do it.
They do. They need the refuelers. They need the refuelers, the heavy refuelers, and that's what we can provide.
Yeah, and of course the ongoing. There's more operations in Gaza after a short ceasefire, and it's like, well,
and in Lebanon they went into
that was always the most likely outcome. Is we're going to go back to fighting again because it's been going on, how many decades now?
A lot easier to do that.
And I don't know how you untie this, because the more I listen, I listen to folks from all different perspectives. The more especially on the Israel-Palestinian conflict, as it's called, to me, I think there are people on both sides that really want a two-state solution. And then the people really at the helm on both sides really don't.
Absolutely.
There you go.
And so how do you deal with that? It's why do I say that? It's because every time they come to some negotiation, some peace deal, Israel gets more land, and the so-called leaders of the Palestinians get more money.
That's right. That's
And
what
all
it's
that
about.
money isn't funneled about like building up a beautiful society, like a statelet. That because no, it's all funneled into military
They
purposes,
just go buy more rockets.
or they just put it in their overseas bank
That's
accounts.
exactly what they do. Yeah.
And so it's just a mess. I like that Trump is pushing for peace in these parts of the world, but he's not going to back down. It's not just gonna be like, oh, peace, but if you don't want it, okay.
Yeah.
It's going to actually press the issue.
One of the things that I look at is this: you talk about the 2-state solution, and everybody's just about it. And here's the problem: Israel tried that multiple times, and what did they do? They used those areas inside Israel to launch attacks. Okay, so in my mind,
Yeah, you don't do that.
You're all
you don't
gone.
bring that back.
You're not here anymore.
Yeah.
Right? You're gone, and I mean that. And that's. But then again, I also would advocate a second crusade, but that's a different story. So.
Well, we should just go in and like what Trump said. we'll just go take off.
When I say crusade instead of crusades, because if we did it right, we could deliver ass-kicking violence in a hurry and just decimate everything. But I'm kind of holding out hope that within 4 years we'll get to that point where it's like gone, done, just vaporize them.
Yep.
Set phasers on kill.
Well, we'll see. This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health, and there at Montgomery Men's Health, we will see you get much better, gentlemen, if you go visit them.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not sleeping well, you're always tired. Like you wake up and you're like, why am I still exhausted? You're also just mentally listless, like you're walking through life in a mental fog and a haze. And of course, you're seeing unwanted weight gain, loss of muscle mass, no sex drive to speak of. You're never in the mood. And if all this is happening at once, well, it could very well be you have low testosterone.
Yep.
And the providers there at Montgomery Men's Health will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. And they have low T treatments there that can truly change men's lives. Men after treatment can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym.
Brother.
It's great, brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and usually even notice an increased libido.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
You can actually book the same day that you call. That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or you can always go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today. Let's see who this is on line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, it's Kyle Kessler. How are y'all?
Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm so glad that Secretary Hicks has signed this thing today, because when I was coming up, I served in the Marine Corps in the '80s, and we were always trained, male or female, if they had that eagle lobe and anchor, you trust them.
Yep.
You had that because the standards were the same, and that was all the way across the Marine Corps. That was across the air wing, the infantry, the
Logistics didn't matter. Yeah.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. The admin.
That's right,
people,
brother.
They were all trained, and they were all riflemen and war fighters first.
Hooah.
And so, it's just one of those things. Now, like you say, they've softened it so much. You do the shuffle, the airborne shuffle. That's kind of funny. But that takes away from the lethality of the warfighter, and that's just because you better bet the enemy is not gonna soften theirs. They're just not gonna soften theirs.
You're absolutely spot on, man. Keep telling it.
And they were also talking about the integration of the male and female unit. The Marines, I don't know how the other units do, because I obviously didn't serve there, but the Marines said, well, they didn't mind having female warfighter units, but they didn't want to integrate them. And the reasoning behind that is because males are wired to protect their females.
Yep, man.
So
They compromise the team. You're absolutely right. Yep.
Compromise the team, absolutely right. But there are some female warfighting battalions and units I wouldn't want to be on the other end of.
No,
the Kurd women's brigades are really bad motor scooters.
They live up to the myth of Hippolyta and Amazon.
So listen, Kyle, you hit a great point, and I say this, and Joey, I know, and Eddie's heard me say it. When we stop becoming nation destroyers and we're thrust into being nation builders, during the global war on terrorism and all the provincial reconstruction teams and all the projects. That's when our lethality was negated. And then we just fell into this culture of we're here to help instead of here to destroy. What's our job? To find, fix, and destroy the enemy by close fire and other assets.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I saw a shirt the other day, and I think I'm going to order it this evening. It said, United States Marines when it absolutely has to be.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Well, I appreciate the call, Kyle. I appreciate you being back.
Simplify, Devil Dog.
Simplify, y'all have a good one. Thank you.
See you, man.
Well, and I wonder if they did integrate some of these units. Anybody ever end up preckers?
Well, see, that's the thing. The big thing is, so maybe you got two guys in a squad fighting over a girl's attention. Yeah, and that's a disaster.
It happens in the workplace in general.
Yes.
So let's add a lot of
and
stress.
especially
Let's
think also like high stress workplace, lawyers, doctors, politicians.
And why? What benefit is there to say that we're more diverse? That does not always, equal out as a benefit.
So as a ranger, they let women go to ranger school.
Right.
And I know for a fact I had a friend who was a ranger instructor there, and he said that the standards were they got him through it. They had to get him through. Just got him through it.
Well, and I think
that's bull.
Agreed.
When Hegseth was
put in your unit.
going through the confirmation process, Senator Cotton was quoting from a ranger, like all these things about we need the same standards and all this stuff, and goes down this whole list. And Hegseth was like, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And he goes, by the way, this is the first ever woman that passed ranger school that I'm quoting from. So there are badasses out there,
there are.
But it shouldn't be this social experiment to like you're running to some civilian thing.
It's like a laboratory. Yeah.
No, I like that the focus should be on, what the focus should actually be. Lethality. Yes. And, we'll see. 272-9228. Again, that's 334-272-9228. And talking this much for about an hour and a half makes me hungry.
Oh, yeah.
You were going to stop by Smokehouse Barbecue, but the weather didn't permit.
Next time, I promise I'm bringing some smokehouse to you guys.
I mean, but what would you have gotten? What do you think?
You know what? After hearing you guys talk, you told me I think a sampler plate. Eddie said it's just
sampler way to go, man.
It's a good go.
Can't go wrong.
I've got to bring some cheese grits if they're available at lunch, even because I've got to try them. You talk so much about it. Yeah, right. Could I have it? You got any leftover? And then, of course, the sandwiches are just outstanding from what I understand.
The big old pulled pork sandwich.
That's what I get. I'm telling you, I'm going to get one with a scoop of macaroni cheese.
And I love their spicy barbecue sauce. Extra slather that thing on
Good
there.
stuff.
Folks, I'm looking at the website right now, smokehousepitbarbecue.com, looking at the menu. I am salivating as we speak, especially like this loaded baked potato.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, with like brisket thrown on there and all that sauce, or loaded mac and cheese. Of course, just classic barbecue dishes.
Wow.
They have the original recipes back at Smokehouse Pit Barbecue that made them famous in the first place. So if you're hungry for lunch, for dinner, dine in, take out, or Tuesday through Sunday, stop by for an amazing down-home breakfast. That's Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. Same location they've always been, Main Street in Millbrook. And be sure to tell them that Joey, Eddie, and Troy, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
We all want access to care and coverage we need to stay healthy, but Farm Bureau health plans aren't the answer. They are unregulated and unreliable when it comes to covering you and your family. If you have cancer or another pre-existing condition, well, you'd be out of luck. Alabama deserves better than empty promises. Call your state legislator now and tell them to vote no on Farm Bureau health plans. Visit fightcancer.org/Alabama. It's time for real health insurance.
Paid for by the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama, trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home, from troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit CrosbyElectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama with excellence.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more.
We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values. This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. The severe weather threat is over. Showers and storms will be edging out of the area and out of the state, so look for improvement this afternoon with a high temperature up to about 78. Partly cloudy tonight, cooler, overnight low temperature down to about 52. Tomorrow, April begins on a nice note with plenty of sunshine and a high temperature up to about 81. I think we'll be in the upper 80s on Wednesday and Thursday and maybe teasing 90 degrees with mostly sunny skies on Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
At CB&S Bank, we've been meeting the needs of our customers since 1906. Need help setting up new business goals? Our line of commercial loans can help you achieve them. Go to cbsbank.com to find a location near you. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. 272-9228. If you want to get in on the conversation, that's 334-272-9228. Again, Eddie Vader and Troy Carrico here in the studio with me today. And before I forget, you have brought in a historic flag and put it up behind you, Troy.
Yeah, I have.
I'm going to have to make you full screen so you can describe this thing.
This is one of my favorite flags. This is probably the start of we all know the Gadsden flag, right? With the rattlesnake. Don't try. But look, it started before that, and it started with these guys. And I say these guys because there was no gals fighting in their unit at the time. So since we've been talking about that ad nauseum, they were just Anyways, so they're originally from Colquitt, Fairfax, and the surrounding counties there, Appomattox in that area. But they were the first unit to actually put a battle flag on the field. listen, there's a couple stories about how good of shots they were. These were frontiersmen at the time, right? And there were several attempts where the British were trying to land ships with Marines on there, and they were sharpshooting the pilot of the boat.
One shot, one kill.
I mean, it's just amazing stories about how the British became very fearful of the Culpeper Minutemen. And what's interesting about this unit, it didn't get absorbed. They stayed in existence as a militia, even after and in between the War of Northern Aggression. They were folded into the Confederacy as, I think, the 14th Virginia Infantry. Then after that, they still stayed around in a home guard kind of capacity, and they were in the Spanish-American War too.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Very
Did not
cool.
know that.
Yeah, very cool. Volunteers. They were Virginia volunteers. Yep.
Well, I always how many? You got a big collection,
dude. Listen, when you come out, you'll see. When you come to my, I've kind of got a lodge home out there, and I've got like 8 columns, and there's flags.
Oh, nice.
On all of them. It looks.
So cool.
My wife says it's a big deterrent from people breaking. They'll go, this guy looks like he's serious.
That's a compound look. That's what you want. I like that.
Now, something that's really cool is in last week, I guess it was last week, it all flows together, or maybe it was a couple weeks ago, the return of the astronauts, the rescue of those astronauts stranded in space. Awesome to see the splashdown, everything successful. As you're seeing the recovery teams make sure there isn't any propellant still on the outside of the capsule that could be toxic to everybody. You see a pod of dolphins start hopping around. Hey, what's up? What's going on, guys?
What's
Congratulations. How you doing? And that's I imagine they talk like Jack Campbell. The dolphins talk like Jack Campbell.
Okay.
Why are you smirking over there?
Because you know that wasn't real.
The dolphins aren't real?
Dolphins are real, but come on, the dolphins were
They
there
are
to
a curious sea mammal.
Out in the middle of the ocean, there's a pod of dolphins.
The dolphins were
exactly at the spot where this thing hit.
So you think it was all staged? I am going
I
to
think there was
jump
some-
across.
I
I have
know.
not threatened violence against you in a while.
I think what happened was they did let out some footage, and they said, "Oh crap, there's our guys, our SEAL guys. We don't need Navy SEAL showing up on TV." So they just did a little AI creation, and they made them dolphins.
Remember, this is a man that thinks that the moon landing is suspect.
There's
So we have to take that in
Very suspect.
No, there are times where I'm
He's got
like,
all the reasons
like
why.
very suspect.
You're a great friend. I'm nothing but impressed with what you've done in many aspects of life. And then there are times like, oh, he's retarded.
So you believe everything you see on TV?
No, I don't.
But I mean, and so you were just so overwhelmed. You're like, wait, even the dolphins are happy that these people are back.
No, I thought it was like, yeah, that's great.
How many times you been out in your dad's boat?
Not many, like 3-4 times.
All right, out of those 3 or 4 times, you ever see a dolphin?
If you bring cigar minnows, out, they'll come to you.
So imagine in your boat, dolphins are used to that. But imagine if you had a spacecraft, how they would even be more repelled to stay away from you, Joey.
I don't. Sometimes
So my niece is
you're taking away my joy.
My niece is a former dolphin trainer. She's got a biochemistry and a marine biology degree from Eckerd College down in Tampa. She worked at Gulf World, Panama City, which they are shutting down because of all the death of the dolphins. But she left there about 2 months ago, and it's amazing some of the intelligence of some of these creatures, that what they can do. And the military has used them for many years.
Remember just a couple years back, that beluga whale that showed up, that escaped out of a Russian.
The Russians are big.
I mean, literally just showed up.
He fled the country. He's like, I can't fly. I can't fly.
Hey,
I gotta get the
guys.
hell out of here.
I don't know what to do.
If they were dolphins, okay. If that,
You
if that
think
makes
they were?
your story,
You think the AI is so good? It was just in real time. They replaced people with dolphins.
George?
That's your theory.
Well, George Washington cut down a tree, is what I was told all my life, and he could not tell a lie.
Yes, because there are untrue things in history doesn't mean everything you see on TV is fake. You dope.
Didn't say everything was, but
He
some
wasn't
things are so obvious. You got to go.
I don't think he was paying attention to your op-ed when you talked about the greatness of man and how it's negated. See, I'm paying attention.
The greatness of man, but dolphins could care less unless you have a cigar minnow.
I'm just saying it's more like the most entertaining outcome. It's like a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy thing. They were saying thanks for all the fish.
Right.
That's what they were saying.
Sure.
Anyway.
Plus, don't you think the heat from that shuttle coming down into the water would be just a little bit too hot for anything to be at close proximity?
What?
The heat from the friction of that shuttle coming
They
back.
have parachutes.
Oh, that makes the heat go away just like that?
Not
Once it hits the
immediately.
water, it would dissipate pretty quickly, I believe. But
You would think so, sure. But I mean, your
Like, it
okay, your
slows
car.
down
Okay,
a
so
lot.
let's back up. Your car runs through radiator fluid, right? It runs through water, but does it dissipate heat that quickly?
Understand?
You put your hand on it?
Yeah, you're
As soon as
right.
you turn it
So
off?
my question is, where was the touchdown at exactly on the water mapped out? Do we know?
Off the coast of Florida.
Well, then
Yeah,
it's
Gulf of
likely
America.
it's possible, right? The Gulf of America. I didn't know how far out it was out, but I don't know. I mean,
Hey, by the way, I'm
Eddie,
just
you
shaking
said before that you
honestly
fly
care
your
less.
drone over. You said you fly your drone over the beach. You see dolphins,
See
sharks,
sharks,
everywhere.
yeah.
So I mean,
Come on.
Yeah,
man.
not 40 miles out in the middle of nowhere.
Well,
Anyway, I mean, if you had to look at these two people I have on the screen there, these two astronauts, would you sit there and argue with them?
Oh,
that,
no,
like,
by no means. I feel so sorry for
Hey,
those folks
Eddie,
right
look, she went to the beautician. She got her hair fixed.
Hey, the
Remember?
chin, did you
Ooh,
see the
jeez, I know. Her chin's
elongated
like
chin?
elongated. Yeah.
Well-
Looks like Jay Leno.
exactly.
well, here's Bill Himmer of Fox News. Sometimes in my mind, I want to say Bill Hummer, but that would be inappropriate.
Yeah, I'm sure he gets that sometimes.
Yeah, Bill, how'd you get so high up in the media business? Let's listen in. He's talking to these astronauts now on the media tour after returning back to Earth.
What would you like to say to President Trump and Elon Musk? I respect you. I trust you. You've given me no reason not to trust you, either one of them. What they say, I can't say what they say. I haven't lived that. But I have no reason not to believe anything they say because they've earned my trust. And for that, I am grateful that our national leaders actually are coming in and taking part in our human spaceflight program, which we see is hugely important global significance. And they take an active role. And based on the past and what we see now, with them doing that, it's refreshing. Not just refreshing, it's empowering. It's strengthening for our nation. I think it's a good thing for our nation when the national leaders, especially something that's high visibility, are involved in the process. And I'm grateful for that.
And I'm just glad that they're involved and they take notice. And our situation, I think I mentioned before, maybe wasn't the perfect situation, but allowed a lot of people, including the president and Elon, to look at what's going on the International Space Station, take it very seriously, and understand that our involvement as a country, as a spacefaring nation, is really important throughout the world. And it sets an example, and it shows, our ability to be able to do the hard things, put people in space, operate in space, work in space, and then bring us back. It's important, and I appreciate that them and many, many, many more people took notice of it.
Now, the next big space thing, I don't remember the name of the mission off the top of my head, but it's going to be an orbit over the poles. And it will be an all civilian crew. It won't be like these are former naval test pilots.
Right.
It will be an all civilian crew. Now, these civilians are hardcore.
They're trained. Yeah,
And when they're like, we're climbing Everest type of folk, like one is a big explorer. They're like, there's some, they're skilled people have done extreme things, let's say, but they've been training for like crazy.
Right.
But it's it's going to be the first orbit of the poles, so we actually get views of the poles, which could be fascinating. Wait, what are you?
Joey,
he's gonna have
there's
to go
a
to
whole
the
other
radio
world
train.
on the other side of the poles, that the ice shelf that we're just as
Wait, are you a
regular
flat
civilians
earther?
Not allowed to see. Just saying,
We're
maybe
gonna
we'll
have
get to see it
He's
this
going to
time.
need to be debriefed, I think.
Well, I think he's getting at that energy weapon that's in Antarctica. Like,
see, you heard about it too.
Yeah,
See?
and there was an earthquake halfway across the world, and we couldn't explain the
that's
earth.
Hard to explain that
butterfly
away.
effect, right? Hey, so real fast, whenever you see a woman astronaut, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I always think about that creepy incident where the woman drove across the country in her diapers.
Yep.
With a stun gun,
Never
with
forget
a
that,
stun gun
Yep.
and a
Forgot about
BB gun and duct tape. Listen,
I'll
man,
never forget about that, man.
She pee-peed
All
and
the way-
poo-pooed on her.
Well, she's a pilot.
I
She's
can't
used to doing
stop.
that.
She's like a trucker. I got to keep rolling, man. I got to keep
She
rolling.
stopped for gas. That's it.
Man, I forgot about that story.
What's the lesson there? There is batshit crazy women in
Yes.
the world, and you got to be careful.
Yes,
So-
Joey, that's a lesson to you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This part of the program, in fact, the entire hour, brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. Let me get out of that straitjacket real quick over here. And they're at Alabama Home Mortgage. They are ready to help you, whether you're looking to purchase a home, because you would want to just start the process, get pre-approved. They can help you out there and walk with you every step of the way, all the way to closing day. No surprises when it comes to Alabama Home Mortgage.
They can help you, especially if it's your first time. And if it's not your first rodeo and you're looking for a local mortgage broker that's, well, trusted, really good at what they do, going to get you the best possible deal, that's Alabama Home Mortgage. And if you're looking to refinance, to, let's say, restructure your finances, get credit card debt off your back, maybe you're hitting retirement age and you want to lower your monthly bills, they can do that for you there at Alabama Home Mortgage. Just call them up today. Start the conversation at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies like Kim Madeline. Prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. We'll be right back. Very quick break here.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
You want your floors to scream new, fresh, and stylish. But if yours are groaning, tired, old, and outdated, you're in luck. Because the Prattville Spring Sale is your opportunity to revitalize your floors while you save on the best brands available, including Mohawk, with perfect and professional installation and Prattville's unbeatable lifetime warranty.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement. Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
Start shopping now at PrattvilleCarpet.com.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Oh, we're all right. We're really excited about watching the rest of the tournament, especially on that big old 85-inch TV I bought from you guys there at Cohen's. It's always beautiful for not only, sports, but movies as well. You got a lot of folks stopping by for, say, TVs these days?
Yes. Lots of people want to upgrade and get a bigger, better picture and size for the games.
What are kind of the how big are these things getting now?
Well, the ones we have in stock go up to 98 inches. Samsung has just talked about having 115 inch. Some other companies have had the 115 out for a little while, and that was kind of a direct delivery to your home. And then you can actually go with like a video wall if you just want to get crazy. And that's where they have probably little 20-inch monitors that kind of snap together on your wall, and you can make it as big as you want.
Oh, daggone. Now that, I like that.
Clearly, people in radio are the ones that have those big honking TVs.
And of course, folks, when you work with Cohen's, whether you're buying electronics like TVs or the appliance side, they have that service that makes a difference, where they'll deliver, set things up for you, especially if you're getting something like a new fridge. They'll take away the old one, making sure the new one is set up correctly. And I think the service side of this is like, why y'all, you've been in business now for 65 plus years?
That's right. But the other part of giving the great service is that we're also giving you a competitive price on the front end. So you're going to pay the same price that you pay at one of the box stores.
Right.
But you get to buy it from us, and then we're going to stand behind it should you ever need service.
There you go. Well, folks, you can always shop from home at thinkcohens.com, but I really encourage you to stop by, see them in person at 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And find Michael and be like, hey, I heard you on that radio show with Joey and Eddie, and they didn't bring up Auburn's victorious march into the Final Four, nor Alabama's loss. They were very polite. They were gentlemen about it.
I thought so.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even show up.
I really did want the Alabama Auburn showdown.
Did, yeah.
But that gum, man.
it was not a good showing. But yeah, y'all come see us. Ask us some questions. Let us ask you some questions, and then let us help you make the right choice for whatever your needs are.
Well, appreciate it as always, Michael. Talk again soon.
All right. Thank you.
Again, that's Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Let's we got time to talk to Papa B. Hey, Papa B.
Hey guys. So yeah, that story about the woman astronaut wearing a diaper because you wouldn't have to stop and pee. That is dedication right there, bud.
She's like a truck driver. She's got a hot load. She's got to go.
That's right.
I'm telling you, she's got a mission.
I remember, man. I thought, who?
Listen, the persistence of that woman just concerns you, doesn't it, Papa B? You're like, oh boy.
Well,
what are you doing with the duct tape?
I was younger at the time, and I thought even educated women can be crazy.
Oh no, that's what's nuts. It's like
astronaut.
The same motivations and drives can be used for good and evil.
Very true, Joey. Very true.
That woman in that event should serve notice to every man on the planet that you are not safe. Bud.
Right. That's so true. That's so funny.
I tell my wife, Papa B, there's two types of crazy in the world. One is what I call batshit crazy. The other is India spitting cobra crazy. And you just got to watch out. Either one you got to watch out for.
No doubt. You know, and speaking of crazy, you know, it had to just absolutely just eat some people up with the rescue of the astronaut going off without a hitch. Let me tell you something. I do not exaggerate when I tell you there are some people on the left that would love to have seen that thing blow up on national TV, killing the astronaut, so they could, have a moment. You know, I swear the evil these people have are just, you know, there's no end to it. And then to have, on top of everything else, the dolphins show up and bless them with that final, it's like universal justice.
Papa B, I got a question. Listen, I'm the neutral arbiter. I'm the neutral arbiter between these two right now, because what you haven't seen in the break was a debate over whether those dolphins were artificially inserted there.
Oh no, he said it in the segment.
I know he did.
He said it on air.
I'm not afraid of this.
I'm sorry, but it's been a point of contention, and Joey's kind of got a little torqued about it.
Yeah.
So
I will hit you right in the back of the knees easily.
I'm gonna hit you like the truth, Joey. Just right upside your head.
Oh,
You're not
okay.
gonna be able to handle it.
Papa B, was that real or was that fake? Was that fake or real?
No, it was real, man.
Okay, there you go.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
I'm surrounded by rubes.
They want to argue about it. This didn't happen like that. Hey, Joey.
Yeah.
How much more time do I have? Because I really have a point to make.
Okay, how about this? Let me hit. Can you stay through the top of the hour break?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, perfect. How about I'll put you back on hold. We'll come back to you. We do have to hit this top of the hour break. More news and views. Final hour coming up after that.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Attorney General Pam Bondi instructs the Justice Department to dismiss a lawsuit challenging a sweeping 2021 election law in Georgia. Republican state lawmakers passed the overhaul in the wake of President Trump's 2020 election loss in the state. The lawsuit was filed in 2021 under former President Joe Biden. It alleged that the Georgia law was meant to deny black voters equal access to the ballot. The Pope's doctor says Francis has shown a truly surprising improvement since returning to the Vatican to convalesce. That's after surviving a life-threatening bout with double pneumonia. On Wall Street, the Dow adding 271 points now. The NASDAQ Composite 104 points in the red. This is SRN News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-885-3333. That's 800-885-3333. 800-885-3333.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. It's time to get those gardens ready. From seeds to plants to fertilizer, MPM has what you need. Shop MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 1.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. The severe weather threat is over. Showers and storms will be edging out of the area and out of the state, so look for improvement this afternoon with a high temperature up to about 78. Partly cloudy tonight, cooler, overnight low temperature down to about 52. Tomorrow, April begins on a nice note with plenty of sunshine and a high temperature up to about 81. I think we'll be in the upper 80s on Wednesday and Thursday and maybe teasing 90 degrees with mostly sunny skies on Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
You can make your ASE loan payments from your phone anytime, anywhere. It's quick and easy. www.youraseccu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
ASD Credit Union. Your life, your cause, your ASD.
1819 News.
A bit of controversy has erupted at the high school in Auburn after parents found out students were being encouraged to wear a transgender ribbon to school today on Monday in order to promote the newly created Transgender Day of Visibility. Parents took screenshots of the school's online platform in which the students were made aware of March 31st being this day to wear ribbons. And they were also encouraged to stop by a certain table set up in the hallway that is also promoting the transgender ideology. Parents and grandparents with students at the high school have contacted 1819 News saying only school administrators can post on that online platform, and there has not been any similar promotion of other school groups or organizations and their special days. The parents say they don't want their students to be pressured into participating with something that is woke ideology and only applies to a few. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
I'm Amy Beth Shaver with Alabama Unfiltered Radio, and when I need the news and I need it fast, I turn to Andrea Tice and the Daily Detail. On my way in, it is the most convenient, best way for me to digest what's going on so that I can use it for our show. She tells you what's going on in Alabama that day first and fast. So listen to the Daily Detail with Andrea Tice. Don't miss out.
The Daily Detail is available wherever podcasts are found.
A Gardendale man has died from a falling tree that occurred this past weekend. The man has been identified as 45-year-old Pablo Nunez. He was cutting down a tree at a home on Neely Drive when that tree that he was cutting down fell on him. A popular restaurant in the Logan Martin Lake area has had to close down operations entirely due to a fire that started on Sunday night. The Blue Eye Eatery was completely destroyed. By the time firefighters got to the scene, that fire was not put out completely until 1:30 a.m. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
David Little from Tucker Pecan is with us, and you've got some casseroles that are absolutely outstanding and wonderful. And you've even got a breakfast casserole.
Yes, we do have two breakfast casseroles. We've got a hash brown casserole and a Kiss My Grits, which will jump up and bite you. It is so good, Bubba. It is one of those wonderful things we have at Tucker Pecan, but we also have meals like the Mama's $1 Million Spaghetti and beef stroganoff. And what else we've got that a lot of people don't know about is we have steaks. We have 8-ounce fillets that are vacuum packed and cut. We have twice baked potatoes. We have ribeyes. We have all these great things. And you know what? We make the twice baked potatoes at our place, so you know they're good, along with candies, pecans. But we also have great chicken salad, pimento cheese. We have the Blue Moon cheese, which has olives, chili sauce, all those great things in it. So you know what? If you want something good to eat, come see us at Tucker Pecan. You can come see us at 1935 Mulberry Street or 132 Company Street in downtown Wetumpka. Check us out on the web at tuckerpecan.com or call us at 262-4470 or like us on Facebook.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Welcome back. Real quick, we're going to go to Papa B, but we're seeing all this Tesla protest, all these takedowns at Tesla, all this organized, not just protest, but vandalism and just nutty stuff. But at that town hall we played earlier that Elon Musk held in Wisconsin, well, of course, there was one protester that evening. Let's listen in.
It's really wild. So, like,
get him out of here.
I mean, it was inevitable that at least a few Soros operatives would be in the audience. Give my regards to George.
I love that. I love that.
That's great.
USA. USA.
Wow.
Give my regards to George.
Give my regards to George. Let's go back to Papa B. How you doing?
Oh, you gotta love it. But to my main reason to call, the left, for whatever reason, has just absolutely shown terrible hatred toward a part of this country and its history. And, during the Obama years, really took a part of this country to task, tearing down statues, taking apart our history. History is whether you like it or not. It's just history.
Yes.
And when you start pulling at the corners in the fabric, of the nation, well, the whole thing sort of unravels, which I think was their really ultimate goal during this time. But the question I have is, what are we going to do to restore what the Socialist Democrat tore down? How are we going to restore it, and what can be done? Troy, what do you think about that? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so it started, I don't know, 35, 40 years ago in our education system. And you know that, and it's indoctrinated the youth to a point where now, and my son, he's 35, so what would that put him? He make him a
millennial. I'm 36.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
It's the same age almost as you. Good guy. And he gets to the point where he vapor locks on stuff. He goes, there's just so much stuff out there that I don't know what to think or do.
Yeah.
And I think where it starts at is taking you got to take the education system back. And if you do that, which we're on track to do, you are going to have better citizens, more informed citizens, true citizens. And they're just hate. Papa B, I've said it before. I don't know how many people volunteer. The greatest thing about American military might is that it's a volunteer force, and we need to see more of that. And I'm afraid with the dilution of our homogeneity of our populace here, with all the influx of these immigrants, not a lot of people are joining the military like they used to. It's not as homogenous, and that's a problem.
Well, and probably Trump has already called for, it's like going to be a hall of American heroes, and it's going to be from every era.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you do it. You don't necessarily go back to the point of tension that the left's trying to, you don't meet them on the battlefield they choose. You just create something new and better. And, I wrote about this last week where, if you give people like a definition of greatness that is expansive, that isn't like, it doesn't meet my moral sense, or it doesn't meet, no, there are greats. Like everybody within the sound of my voice, for the most part, is probably Christian, or at least was raised Christian. Right.
we can still look back at the old, say, Greek heroes and go, okay, those guys were great, even though they're very foreign to us in our moral sense of the world. Like, and in the same way, I think greatness can subsume like Julius Caesar and St. Paul. It can be Robert E. Lee and MLK Jr. And instead try to reduce it to like, that's not the right thing. No, you lose the story if you start just cutting people out and you don't see the progression.
Well, and see, here's I think Troy was hitting on it, but kind of tapping around the edges, and that is this country. You might call them the deep state. You might say it's the CIA. You might want to say whatever cabal it is. That co-opted both the all the institutions of the country. They have waged a psychological war, both overt and covert, on this country. And it's not illegal. It's what it is. I mean, it's supposed to be. You can go and mess with some dictator or potentate overseas, fine, but you're not supposed to mess with American people. But they did and have and done it successfully. And now we got to re-educate people, kind of before we can really start rebuilding. And I don't know. I think the rebuilding should happen at the same time myself, because we are very short on time. This country is changing rapidly.
Yep.
And if we don't recapture and reset the history of this country, whether you like it or not, I mean, I got my beef against, Martin Luther King. He said a lot of good things, did a lot of good things, but he still got, some bad things going on too. So, just because you're one man's hero is another man's, saint, kind of thing. So anyway, that's my only point. I think we need to, start looking at that, and I hope it starts happening soon. Anyway, guys,
Appreciate it. Thanks. Well, and it's hard to know what the country's going to look like in 5 years.
Absolutely.
And I mean
There's
that,
no way to know that.
like, especially with the technological change happening,
Sure.
it's hard to even know. I think by creating new things that sort of tip their hat to many aspects of the past is how you re-educate people and reintroduce ideas to people.
Speaking of Martin Luther King, I just wanted to run something by you guys. I've researched a lot on him, and you know what I noticed? He never once invoked the word Jesus Christ when he preached. He was a Buddhist. He was a Gandhiist. Go back and look. And there's a school of thought that he was more of a Buddhist than he was a Christian.
One of my favorite, and I've read it before, I've cited it before, King sermons is here in Montgomery in 57.
Yes.
Called Love Your Enemies. And he's constantly quoting Jesus there.
Okay. I found I had a hard time finding a lot on him. And there's a school of thought that believed that he was more influenced by Gandhi and by civil disobedience. But that doesn't take away. I think
he was
a great
clearly
man.
influenced by the nonviolent
there's
resistance.
no doubt about
Gandhi.
that. No doubt about that. But
everything I've read though has the to me a Christian ethos, just for my own reading.
Yeah, I got you.
Let's go to Soldier Boy. Hey, Soldier Boy, how you doing?
How you doing? You got a guest today?
Yeah, Troy Carrico back here in the studio with us.
What's up, Soldier Boy?
What's up? Hey, it's interesting though. I'm 64 years old, okay? And it seems like these bad seed people have waited for the right time to bloom. My question is, was I so blind not to see them for what they really were or going to be, and I just lived amongst them and went along with them?
You're gonna have to give me more meat on the bone here. Where were you living? Who are you
Well,
talking?
what do you mean? My question is, these people with these attitudes and the way they're thinking and anti-government and all this stuff, they didn't wake up one morning and become like that. They were raised like that and taught like that. So my question is, I had a lot of those friends that are that way today, and I looked at them, man, did I miss something? Because we're not friends anymore. They were like bad seeds, and they've just finally come to bloom full. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, and people do change, and like there's genuine different reactions to big events in particular.
Well, when I think back, and I said to myself, did I miss something? And I said, well, about this, and this. And guess what? I did miss a lot of things.
Hmm?
These people were, I mean, was it after World War II or during World War II? What was it, patriotism? Uncle Sam wants you, and he was everywhere. Women working in the factories.
Yeah.
I mean, patriotism was up to Yahoo. But today, it's not. It's like tear everything down. That's patriotic. Ignore it. And I just can't believe that some of the friends that I thought were patriotic, who I thought back and loved this country, were in actuality didn't come into bloom till a decade ago. Like your member person there was saying, it happened in school.
Oh yeah, and it also is the political issues of, say, the 80s and the 90s and even the early aughts. Once those are settled, some people win, some people lose, new issues rise up.
Sure.
And that really, those new issues you didn't ever think about can will test you, and your reaction to it might not be what you would have even suspected yourself.
What were those people that did that sit down in New York City and protested? What was it? What were they called? They were sit down, walk outs, whatever. And they were told they had to leave and move.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
It was over the stock market, wasn't it? Was it
Wall Street people?
Yeah, it's a Wall Street that was set in.
Yeah, and here's what's funny is we didn't do anything. We just ignored it. I think that was a test bed right there for old George Soros to see what our reaction would be to him when it comes to tearing down.
If you're talking about Occupy Wall Street, no, I think Occupy Wall Street had a lot of genuine energy, and you had leftist sort of types who hated, the big rich fat cats, but you also had Tea Party types up there. You had libertarian types yelling about the Fed, and it's actually around that time that you see the shift away from the hope and change rhetoric of Obama's early years. And actually, a lot of it sounds like DOGE and like we're going to make the government more efficient and transparent. And it starts to shift into the identity politics. I think a lot of very powerful people in this country that could push messaging through corporate, say, corridors, as well as through the education system, through the political process directly, realize, we're about to get a populist uprising because we just bailed out these banks. It's rednecks as well as, granola eaters all joining together, along with those weirdo libertarians. What we'll do is we'll get everybody hyped up about the war on women, or we'll get Black Lives Matter running. We're going to emphasize all the identity things to drive a wedge and destroy this coalition in the crib before it can grow up.
Hey, Soldier Boy, I got a question. I got a question for you. You seem very engaged and very convicted of things. And so let me ask you this as a citizen. Do you feel, and this is something, I'm not trying to lead you with this question, but I believe that a lot of this malaise that we have, like you talked about, not realizing what people were, when you look around and you look how the demographics have changed in this country in the past, I don't know, let's just say 40 years. It's not the same America that the greatest generation came from. It's just diluted now with a lot of things. And that's a problem. And it infiltrates.
You're right. Well, look at the Democrats. They used to be the peace-loving hippies. Now they're pro-war.
Yeah, I know. They want that money.
I mean, it's like, but back then they were doing peace rallies and spitting on soldiers coming back from Vietnam, anti-war. And now it's like, there's a war? Let's give some more money and have them kill themselves over there, I mean, look, didn't 95%, almost every Democrat voted every time for more money for Ukraine.
Yep.
Every time.
Absolutely.
They were pro-war.
Go look at their investment portfolios. Seriously.
There you go.
So look how much they invested in Lake City and all that. Ammunition. So,
Didn't put that stock money. Didn't put my stock money in Halliburton again. Oh, damn.
Well, you know what? If you and I would have done that, Soldier Boy, we'd be in jail. That's insider trading, but that's how they operate up on the hill.
Wow.
Well,
I was telling Joey, I said I was paying. Halliburton didn't do one damn thing when I was over in Iraq and Baghdad. Everything was subcontracted.
Everything.
Everything,
including the bathrooms. You remember when the little Pakistanis would be in the bathrooms with the squeegees doing all that? Soldier Boy, let me tell you a funny story. This is one you're going to get a kick out of. These subcontractors at Camp Slayer, a mortar came in and hit one of the Blackwater trucks, and it spewed fecal matter all over the compound. And they had those guys in what, like 110 degree weather and these white suits, biohazard suits, cleaning up all this shit.
Those suits are no fun, man. There's no heat
Let me
release
tell you
from
about
those
that. Let me
suits.
tell you about Blackwater. We used to have guys that go in the chow hall
Yeah.
inside the palace in the green zone.
Yeah.
And they would, and you couldn't bring weapons inside to the chow hall. You had to leave it outside.
Right.
But Blackwater thought they didn't have to go by the freaking rules.
No.
And they were trying to bully. They tried to bully up some of the Army special ops guys. And man, I thought they were going to beat each other up one time. I mean, they didn't appreciate it. They said, we don't have to go by American laws. We don't have to go by the Constitution. This is the Wild Wild West, boys, and we can do what we want.
True story.
That's what Blackwater
True
said.
story. True story.
Well,
Yep.
appreciate
Boy,
the call,
I saw
Soldier Boy.
him talking there.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks, man. I got to
See you,
run.
Soldier Boy.
272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. And their Pest Pro Ashley and that great team are ready to help you out with any and all of your pest control needs. They're now doing a subscription-based model, which is great. $40 a month. You can get that all year round pest control, basic pest control service. Well, they'll come to you, spray, make sure there aren't no problems whatsoever. But you can add on to that. Like, say we're going through termite season, $20 a month. You can have that year-round termite inspection and defense. It's good to stop them before they ever cause a problem. Add a little bit more, you can do mosquito treatment.
Right.
And which, as you've firsthand seen how well that
Works
works.
amazing, Joey.
Yeah, you're up there in mosquito heaven,
Right.
right near the lake.
And never have had one complaint about anyone getting run out of our Airbnb because of mosquitoes.
And
That's
Pest Pro
great.
Services is the reason.
That's exactly right.
So y'all check them out today. You can always go to ppsriverregion.com or search Pest Pro Services on Facebook. And in fact, that's where you can send in nominations for Player of the Week. Baseball, softball players. They're looking for nominations each week to highlight a great local student athlete. And of course, if you want to just get in touch with them for that pest control service, call them direct, 265-9990. That's 265-9990. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services. And be sure to tell Ashley and that great team that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you. Again, 272-9228. We'll be right back after this break.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Is your business feeling the heat of cyber attacks? Tired of worrying about ransomware, data breaches, downtime, and employee mistakes? GTI Managed IT Solutions has been your trusted partner since 1999, safeguarding and supporting businesses like yours from the ever-evolving threats in the digital world. GTI, your peace of mind is guaranteed. Call us today at 819-4650 or visit gtinow.com.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Biscuits Baseball is back in 2025 with opening weekend presented by the Vance Law Firm. It's from Friday, April 4th to Sunday, April 6th. It all starts opening night with a pregame block party and a Max fireworks show. On Saturday, fans can watch another edition of postgame Max fireworks. Sunday, there's a visit from Bluey at the ballpark. And remember to wear your blue. It's a blue out all weekend. For tickets and information, visit biscuitsbaseball.com or call the box office at 323-BALL.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Pestruccelli, General Sales Manager and co-owner of Blue Water Broadcasting. Even in the digital age, radio remains the most powerful reach medium for connecting with audiences. Its ability to engage listeners, reach a wide and diverse audience, and create real emotional connections sets it apart from other forms of media. Radio's adaptability and easy access ensure its continued relevance now and in the future. Want to learn how radio can work for your business? Visit BlueWaterBroadcasting.com. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Earnest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Earnest, 334-279-7431. Earnest Financial, LLC.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. The severe weather threat is over. Showers and storms will be edging out of the area and out of the state, so look for improvement this afternoon with a high temperature up to about 78. Partly cloudy tonight, cooler, overnight low temperature down to about 52. Tomorrow, April begins on a nice note with plenty of sunshine and a high temperature up to about 81. I think we'll be in the upper 80s on Wednesday and Thursday and maybe teasing 90 degrees with mostly sunny skies on Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Donkey Lori. Hey, Lori, how you doing?
Hi, guys. Doing good. How are you?
Oh, we're all right.
Oh, I've been busy, but even when I went home for a couple of hours today. I put the app on and put it on my Bluetooth big boom, pool speaker so I can hear you guys. And I heard is it Antonio Gracias?
Yes.
Antonio Gracias and Elon Musk. And that was the first I had heard of it. And because I don't put any news on anymore, I just listen to news talk when I'm in the vehicle or whatever time of the day. And then when I'm at home, I just want to say, just for me and my husband, just normal folks, knowing that the nefarious, forgive me, crap at the southern border, and it was intentional, and not even knowing, thinking, oh my God, what are all the reasons for this that are so absolutely horrible, and then to hear that you guys played today, I was literally saying out loud, wow. Yeah. Wow. Thank y'all for being an outlet that informs us and lets us know. Because even though, it's like you go, wow, I didn't even think of that. Like what a smart bunch of jerks that want to take down this country. You know what I mean? I was like, I didn't even think of that. And then the other thing that kind of astounded me a little bit was, if I'm one person and I know at least two people in my family, one on my side of the family and one on my husband's side of the family that have drank the Kool-Aid, that are bought and sold, that, this is a horrible thing that Elon Musk is doing. And it's frightening because that's someone that's close to you. You know what I mean? It's like, someone for me, I've known my whole life, for my husband, he's known his family member, that young man's whole life, you know what I mean? And I'm like, God, you're in your 30s, and you bought this. You bought the Kool-Aid and the T-shirt. You drank the Kool-Aid and you're wearing the T-shirt, and it leaves me speechless, Joey, because it's like, how can you not hear this information and be appalled and get downright angry in a righteous way? You know what I'm saying? Like in a righteous anger way, and say, how dare you? How dare you undermine the majority of the American public? And my uncle was an immigrant from Monterrey, Mexico, and he came over legally. He married my mom's sister. They had beautiful children. He started a business of his own. And he was my favorite uncle. He was a father figure to me because I didn't have a dad when I was little. And it brings me to tears because he worked hard for what he had, and it just, I don't know, the levels of depravity that certain powers that be, and then I'm going to say this and I'm going to hang up. I like watching a lot of documentaries, but then I get concerned nowadays. Are they telling you the truth? Are they telling you a little bit of the truth because they lied to you before? Are they only telling you enough of the truth that they want you to know that they're still basically lying to you? Do y'all have any opinions on 1923 when it series the 1923 about land settlement?
I don't know about that.
No expertise.
Okay. I saw kind of a commercial about it yesterday, and it was, people who came and built their homes and had a ranch and had a farm and was working the land and living off the land, and it talked about Native Americans. I've got Native American in me. I've got Cherokee in me. But how these wealthy individuals from the oil industry, and these wealthy, powerful individuals basically came in and the corruption that existed then that affected the everyday person. And as an everyday person, I'm saying, how do you, not get disheartened because you go, dear Lord, as long as mankind's been alive,
Well, but that, in a way, that can dishearten you that this is a tale as old as human history itself. But in another way, that can also give you hope because people still endured and did great things and made their way despite all the wickedness of elites and powerful people. I mean, you find it in the Bible, you find it in Greek myths, you find it in our own American history, you find it everywhere. So in a way, that's not going to change. But once you come to peace with, that's probably not going to change at all, even when things still can get better despite that, say, proclivity to depravity.
Well, I appreciate all the exposure that's happening right now.
Me too.
And for those people out there that have drank the Kool-Aid and, can see the exposure and deny the very truth that's being put in your face, it makes me sad. But I will tell you this is why I play with puppets.
There you go.
I want to say something. This caller, ma'am, you are the epitome of a good citizen. I mean, your engagement level, your passion, your story. You are, to me, that you are the person that the constituency should be considered as when a politician.
And she's a friend to animals.
Yeah,
we didn't even get.
What
to
is she
that.
doing?
We had 17.
And she does carpentry.
17 found their forever
Oh,
home.
wow.
In the last week and a half from
She's
my home.
amazing.
Cool,
Absolutely
cool.
amazing.
Well, very nice to meet your acquaintance. You're an outstanding American, great American. So.
Thank you so much, Troy, and thank you, Joey and Eddie, for bringing the truth to the people that want to hear it, and even those people that don't want to hear it and accidentally fumble upon your station, they get a spoonful of it anyway. Love you guys very much. God bless
Love you too,
all.
Lori. Appreciate you, Lori.
Outstanding.
And if you stay tuned, coming up, we have, I might have time to read my essay coming out tomorrow. DOGE cuts, the paradox of DOGE cuts for the common good.
Nice.
Let's go to Emmett. This is Emmett? Emmett?
He's got a last name.
This here's Emmett Crutchfeller from Hertzahatchee.
Okay.
Me and my family used to have chicken houses over there in Hertzahatchee, and the Koch brothers took them from us, and my wife passed away, and me and my three boys, we're on the run. We're dirt poor. We run from the Department of Horrendous Retribution, NEXA, and I run from Kim at Mental Health. And I take the boys everywhere across the country to see real-time things happening. We do everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a falcon that goes with us. And we went down to the beach, and we put a camera around that falcon to see what happened when the astronaut people in the capsule landed. And here is the acronym for what the falcon brought back for us to see. Make sure you write this down. It's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Endearing dolphins doing incredible escort swimming during re-entry excitement, amazing media. Now, did you see what that was? Eddie's dream. Y'all have a great day.
Gotcha. You walked into that one.
I wrote my name down and quit. I knew this was good.
Yeah,
It's like,
so
all right.
good.
It's like clubbing baby fur seals with Eddie today.
But it looks like we do have the time here to get into this. I want to read this thing.
Okay, do it.
But before I do, this part of the program brought to you by Dr. Pershing.
Oh, Dr. Tom,
chiropractor.
yes.
Yeah, a great chiropractor here in the area. In fact, he's helped your wife out.
Yes, he has. After her little car accident, she had shoulder pain. Even through physical therapy, she couldn't get rid of it. So she went to Dr. Tom, and I think probably less than 4, maybe 5 appointments at the most, cured. Just did not have a problem at all. So
if you go to drpershing.net, that's drpershing.net, you can see all they have to offer. This man's been a chiropractor for 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
He's
He also teaches it.
Yeah, he's taught the art to folks, so that's like learning it all over again. And yeah, as you just heard Eddie said, I know many others who have been helped out directly by this great fella, great guy. And now it's a brand new office here in Montgomery. If you need help with any sort of musculoskeletal problems, certain trigger points that just won't go away, your neck's always sore, maybe if you're feeling numbness in your hands or extremities, any sort of weird stuff like that, that's not like, well, it's an emergency, but it's bothering you every day, go see Dr. Pershing. You can always call him at 676-1490 to request an appointment. That's 676-1490, or again, drpershing.net. And be sure to tell him that Joey and Eddie, those fellows on the radio, sent you. So again, this is called the paradox of DOGE cuts for the common good. And I believe I begin, it's important to the structure of the essay with one of my fruity quotes.
Okay.
This one's from Oscar Wilde.
Ooh, my favorite.
The way of paradoxes is the way of truth. To test reality, we must see it on the tightrope. When the verities become acrobats, we can judge them.
It's very, very profound.
As DOGE walks the tightrope, cutting and canceling government contracts across Alabama and America, certain political truths hang in the air for all Americans to judge. Such a show hasn't been seen for quite some time in American politics, so long that the DOGE acrobats have admittedly alarmed many Americans. Though there are many who find issue with DOGE for a myriad of nuanced reasons, I surmise the most scandalized Americans, other than the fraudsters themselves, are the bleeding hearts who cannot fathom how cutting government could ever be in the common good. Indeed, I suspect that when many liberals look at DOGE, they only see cruelty, ignorance, and wickedness at work, if not patently absurd paradoxes at play. Yet is not the way of paradoxes the way to truth? Let's consider 2. DOGE Paradox 1. Public institutions often serve private interest, while private institutions often serve the public interest. This paradox dissolves swiftly by simply thinking of the public sector as the government sector. That the government has somehow monopolized the moniker of serving the public is a testament to the success of socialist propaganda over the last century. In truth, government institutions can be motivated by the very greed, avarice, and mercenary gain so often associated with private interest. Men do not suddenly lose their self-interest and vice once they join the ranks of quote-unquote public service. Similarly, private institutions can be motivated by nobler ends often attributed to governments. Not only do private churches, charities, and hospitals often serve the common good, private enterprise often serves the public more effectively than any government or nonprofit. Ever heard of SpaceX? Commercial enterprises need not be animated by profit alone, yet even when the profit motive dominates, does not providing the public with a much-needed service often bring the highest returns? Does not the baker bake his bread to the benefit of all because of self-interest? This paradox is further unknotted by simply understanding that the distinction between the public and private sectors is more a question of means rather than of ends or motivations. The public sector relies on the political means, that is taxation and force of law, whereas the private sector usually relies on the economic means, production and trade. Though the lines between private and public are blurred when both sectors collude, that is when the distinction here becomes most stark. Corporations cannot tax their customers nor effectively control their competitors without the help of the government's political means. Many government officials, elected office holders, and unelected bureaucrats alike cannot advance themselves without selling their quote-unquote public services to some private interest economic means. The lobbyists and activists that overpopulate Washington, D.C. are a testament to this incestuous alliance between so-called public and private players. For too long, this alliance has used the political means wrapped up in appeals to the common good as a way to bigger and better paydays for an elite few, all while failing to provide real results for the American people at a reasonable cost. DOGE is undoubtedly the bane of this crony alliance, daily uncovering and dismantling the alliance's waste, fraud, and abuse. Think of some of the consulting contracts DOGE just canceled. Don't bleeding hearts want to see rank cronyism brought to heel? DOGE is restoring the common good by bringing accountability to the political means used by public and private players alike to pull off their legal graft. Yet even if one agrees with what DOGE is doing, is the common good really all that unifying? That brings us to DOGE Paradox 2. The things which we most hold in common divide us the deepest. Though counterintuitive, this paradox can be resolved by understanding how human desires often imitate one another, only to sow division. Mimetic desire can bring about the greatest divisions and rivalries. For a simple example, think of two men who end up desiring the same woman for the same reasons. Even if the two men are greatly alike themselves, even if they are friends, this particular common desire could prove quite disastrous. But what if it was more than two men? What if a common desire could spool out into worldwide division, discord, and war? Think of Helen of Troy, with all her suitors jockeying for her hand in marriage. Think of how the apple of discord pitted the vanities of three goddesses, Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite, over their common desire to be named the fairest of them all. Think of how Paris, Prince of Troy, was forced to choose between the three deities only to give in to the promise of beauty and love. Think of how the Trojan War then commenced once Helen was stolen by Paris as his divine prize. Even our oldest stories show how desire, held two in common, can tear a world apart. Now think of how America's fight over the national interest drives so many to discord throughout the nation. Again, how America's fight over the national interest drives so much discord throughout the nation. Think of how politicians jockey for the same positions of power. Think of voters who must choose who is the fairest of them all, who better represents the common good. Think of how many liberal voters believe DOGE is destroying the public good by cutting public institutions. Now think of how many voters believe that the public good is served by cutting those very same institutions, that the public good is being served by cutting those very same public institutions. Yes, that is exactly what is happening as DOGE walks the tightrope. The mistake too many liberals make, in my humble opinion, about DOGE is that the common good is only served by an ever-expanding and more expensive public sector, and never served by reining in the political means abused by public and private players alike for their self-interest. If only more well-meaning bleeding hearts would watch the tightrope with, let's say, Jon Stewart eyes, then they may judge that their progressive ends and motivations are not necessarily contradicted by DOGE's balancing act to bring solvency and efficiency to the government. That will come out tomorrow at 1819news.com. And, you know, I say Jon Stewart eyes. I actually have a hyperlink in here. And to that thing we were talking about last week, Eddie, on Friday, where Ezra Klein is describing to Jon Stewart the process states had to go through to get some of these electric charging stations.
Saw that over the weekend, yeah.
And Jon Stewart's
Just
losing his mind, literally pulling his hair out, gets up, he's cursing like a madman. He's like, wait, I agree with this idea that we need more infrastructure, especially for renewable energy. I agree with that. I'm a progressive, I'm a Democrat. Let's do it. And when he hears the process, you can see it dawn on him like,
it's not going to work.
Oh my God, this is a grift.
Yep.
This is like, how many layers of bureaucracy do you need?
And do you think that would have happened had Kamala won?
No.
See the effect. Look at the trickle down effect that DOGE is having already on liberal thinkers too.
Yeah. And you're seeing even Bill Maher of all people start to wake up. I don't know if y'all caught this clip, but last week, the head of NPR, Catherine Maher or whatever.
Did herself no favor.
She claimed that they're unbiased. I think that's what the actual claim was.
It was so,
I tweeted.
Here's Bill Maher actually taking on that issue.
The heads of NPR and PBS testified before Congress this week amid accusations of liberal bias. Should the government continue to send taxpayer dollars to public broadcasters? Well, a little background here. I mean, they've been after them the Republicans have wanted to get rid of PBS for as long as I can remember. This crowd will probably do it. I mean, I also read my namesake, Catherine Marr, was head of NPR, and she said, "We're completely unbiased. Give me a break, lady." I mean, they're crazy far left.
Right.
So, I mean, I think we're past the age, really, where the government, first of all, why do we need to subsidize? Why can't we have outlets like this? And we're so polarized. These outlets became popular at a time when Republicans and Democrats didn't hate each other and weren't at each other's throats and didn't think each other was an existential threat. In that world, you can't have places like this, I think, anymore. They have to be private.
I like that.
Bill Maher's
Makes
even
sense.
getting it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It's kind of remarkable.
I was going to say the polarization is really where it's at. The idea today of having a discourse with someone of the opposite camp oftentimes is just it's tragic because you can't so there was a book that I read when I went to law school for a year, and it was called the Harvard Negotiation Project, William Fisher and Bill Urey, and they talk about how to get to yes. And the way you get to yes in politics, in business, in law, in any aspect of your life is you've got to go with principles, not positions. Right. If you take positions, we will never get to that point. Principle. I want the fair deal on this land. Just like when you're doing, it's amazing how we've lost that in politics, in the political arena.
Oh yeah. So, no, and I think it is a breakdown of the common principles, and you're starting to see. Well, it's a clash. And this is why, especially that second paradox, I'm essentially admitting, no, division is part of this. Even everybody going, I want to get the common good together can drive people apart. Right. Oh, you have different definitions of the common good. Yeah. And I really, the more especially I see DOGE present what they're finding, like they're helping realize things that liberals and bureaucrats within the government themselves pointed out over a decade ago. Have been saying, look at all these fraudulent things. Look at these consulting contracts that are just legal graft and don't do anything. They go to these multi-billion-dollar consulting firms. Like, these things don't serve anybody's interest other than the folks on the take. And it's just remarkable that some folks can't see that we're actually cutting through things, but some are.
I honestly think that it's inevitable. It's like an irresistible force. The more that they find, the more they're going to cut, the better, stronger it's going to get. So. Yeah,
but I've heard that Washington's bureaucracy can kind of be an immovable object. So we'll see.
Well, we shall see.
We shall see.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Because once you start taking away from their funds, they're going to push back. But
well, I love already what they're doing at HHS over the top, and I still think there's stuff coming to the Pentagon.
Oh yeah. Listen, trust me, guys. I'm telling you now. And I was not that high ranking, but I can tell you, I know.
Just common sense.
You just scratch the surface, and there it is, man.
Oh, let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
There's Dirty Water.
Hey, Dirty Water.
Hey, man, you guys ain't real good about the traffic updates. I called before at Perry Hill exit. I'm just now getting to Ann Street.
Wow. Dude, that's 20 minutes ago.
85 South is a parking lot. And I just now have not got to Ann Street.
Wow.
You know?
Jeez.
So you need to alert everybody. Avoid 85 southbound after exit 6, you know.
You've been warned, folks. Avoid 85 south.
You just provided the traffic update.
It's a mess. I'm still not even where a wreck's happened yet.
Oh, man.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that whole section.
I just want to let y'all know. Y'all need to do a better job about these dang
there you go.
traffic.
Yeah, Joey. You need to do a better
properly
job.
chastised.
Eddie,
You're right,
Eddie, you need to get on that.
Okay.
I'm gonna hire an Auburn cheerleader to spank Joey.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. When's that gonna happen?
Like one of those high flyers?
We're doing that.
Eddie's like,
I'm getting excited.
Yeah, I'm all about this.
Like, I'll even admit those dolphins weren't real.
Hey, I love you guys. I'll holler at you later.
Thank you, Dirty Water. See you, brother.
Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, this is East.
Hey, East.
Hey, look, I was calling with the traffic report, but here's the rest of the story. There's a little red pickup truck that got smashed, and it's in the inside left lane. So if you're going south on 85, baby, pack a lunch.
Oh boy,
because it's going to be a long wait.
Goodness gracious! Are you stuck in it right now?
Fire truck, Yep. I'm in Pike Road already. I'm in good shape. I was going the other way.
Okay. Well, daggone.
Thanks for the intel.
I appreciate the heads up, Ace.
This is a good show, though, man. I like it when you read to us. That's fun.
Well,
I found that reading and driving at the same time is deleterious.
It can be, yes.
Well, appreciate it, East. Appreciate the update.
Thank you, East.
All right.
See you, bro.
Let's go to line 4. You're on there. Who's us?
We Tonka Jeff.
Yeah,
Hey, we
Tonka
talking to Jeff. What's up, buddy?
Hey, I don't know where y'all talked about the protesters. Are they doing anything today on the?
I haven't seen anything too over the top. I saw somebody got from behind the scenes, like went into the protester crowd, and they all have sheets that have coordinated chants, and all the chants are in bold letters, so they remember them correctly.
Well, that's good.
So very organic.
Yeah.
Well, if they start to throw anything, they ought to, the owners ought to load up a couple of shotguns with rock salt and bacon rinds.
That'll do it.
You can defend yourself without hurting them.
Yep. Better get your point across.
Rubber bullets.
Yep. Granny would have.
She would have spit tobacco in her eyes too.
That's right.
She would have shot with bacon rinds.
That's right.
Well, I did see one video where this guy comes up, dude wearing a Gotham MAGA hat, like tries to hit him to flip the hat off, but hits him in the face.
Oh.
And the dude who got hit in the face is a brown belt jiu-jitsu, brown belt. And the guy kept jawing at him, calling him the B word, all this stuff. And then he finally takes the guy down and puts him in like a chokehold with his legs. And all these other folks like, oh my God,
That's what
the
happens
violence.
every time.
It's like,
That's
he
what
hit me
happens.
first.
Yep.
He's learning his lesson. I'm not hurting him. I'm just
Teaching him a lesson.
Yeah.
Yep.
Take note.
Don't fight people. I appreciate it with Tonka Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. See you, bro.
Thank you.
No, because seriously, like a street fight is it not one of the most dangerous things you could probably do?
It is, and that's why I think I've shared with you. I'm a level 2 Army combative, which is a mix. It's basically Krav Maga and some other stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever you're in a fight like that, the first thing you do is you close distance and you get them on the ground.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. That's
Put 'em
how
down,
you-
baby.
That's
how
what
you
this
make
guy
it.
did.
And then if you know what you're doing, like I've done, you can choke people out pretty easily.
Pretty quick.
So, yeah.
Oh no, it was kind of amazing. As soon as he did the takedown move, one leg in front, takes him down, he
Easy.
gets on top of him,
All
and
over
the
it.
guy's
Yeah,
done.
it's all over.
So, Troy, you think you could take, Joey 30 seconds, 32 seconds, you get him in chokehold?
Yeah,
I could have. I
I
could
have no
easily-
training.
Nobody's talking to you right now. I don't think you can do
I
it, Troy.
could. I could.
I don't think
I
you
know.
could.
No,
I got $20 right
Don't
now.
you
Says you
dare.
couldn't do it.
Don't you dare talk me up in a way to bring me down. You're talking me up to bring me
You
down.
guys are coming to the house in a couple of weeks.
That's right,
I got
that's
some
right.
mats out there. We got a big gym. We
I
can
have
try-
no training.
I'll show you some moves.
I have no training.
I love it.
That'll be Joey's words as he's going down. I have no
It's going to
training.
be like Hulk Hogan's for his wrestling school. Here, let's train you. Break his leg.
right.
Oh, my
April 12th. April 12th at Carico Estates.
Just a little arrow in the joints, Joey. You'll be fine.
You're young. You can handle it.
Yeah, sure. Hey, look at this. It's a break. I got to hit it. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Adams Drugs has been committed to the healthcare of the people of the river region for over 62 years. We value the trust each customer has in our pharmacists, techs, and entire staff. If you have not experienced the difference of Adams Drugs and are not satisfied with the customer service that you get in the big box stores, we invite you to visit any of our locations and see how committed we are to your satisfaction. Adams Drugs offers a variety of services that you will not find in all pharmacies in the river region. Personalized compounding, area-wide delivery, wellness screenings, immunizations, medication consultations, and specialized packaging, just to name a few. Visit us at our website, adamsdrugs.net, and find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs has 12 convenient locations to serve you. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Adams Drugs is your local Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Come to Epicure and Jack's Tavern, where every lunch is made with love. For only $9.99, seniors can relish their meat and 3 special lunch combo, including a drink and bread. Regular sizes are available for just $13.99. Every dish at Epicure and Jack's Tavern is made from scratch daily. No shortcuts, just delicious, hearty meals. So why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary? Visit Epicure and Jack's Tavern today.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Man, you know what? I'm sitting here looking at a bid list of 214 pages. Being dyslexic, this is not my friend.
Fair enough.
I'm doing good if I can read like 4 pages of the Bible a day, and now I got to read 214 pages in the next couple hours. Well, you know what? I'm just happy to see this bid come through. You know, like all other jobs.
Yeah.
We're always very, very happy whenever somebody calls us and says, "Hey, I need a new floor. Can you come out and measure?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." So call us today, 285-8117, and we'll come out, and we're going to be so happy to see you and cheerful, and you're going to be happy as the Lark when we get done with the whatever flooring at all you need. I mean, showers, bathrooms, kitchens, the whole house, whatever it may be, we can take care of it for you.
I'm going to be calling you soon. This is Troy. I talked to my wife about it. I want to use you. You've convinced me that you're on it, and I appreciate bringing up the HISA grant stuff because you said you hadn't been talking about that in a while. So yeah, there's a lot of veterans out there looking for good contractors to do that. So good stuff.
Well, hey, call us today. 285.
I'll give you a call after this. Yep.
Appreciate
we'll come
it.
running out there and get y'all taken care of.
Awesome, man.
Again, folks, that's
All right, thank you,
285-8117. Thank you, Ray.
See you, Ray.
He's awesome.
He's great.
How's Dad's doing?
Oh, I'm
This
sure
guy's a
he's
tough
fine.
nut. He's a tough
got
nut.
probably a
His
foot up
dad's a
Ray's butt
tough
right now.
nut.
He's probably sitting there thinking Ray talks too much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get back to work.
Exactly.
He says, get back to work.
See, this is on line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, it's Woody.
Hey, Woody, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. I love it when Troy's on there. It's a great show.
Man,
Troy's a good
I'll
guy.
give you that $20. I told you just to say that. So I'll get you next time, buddy.
Hey, if you put him in the sleeper, I'll pay that 20 for you. I'm just saying.
So, what have you been sneaking up on anybody in the neighborhood in that truck of yours?
No, I crossed the interstate and it is backed up for sure.
Okay.
Somebody called in about I just left Men's Health. Somebody called in there about a Auburn cheerleaders wanting to get spanked. Y'all have a good week.
See you, brother.
Y'all getting way too close to the flame.
That's right.
Yeah, like wait, some like little high flyer. Oh my god. You're not a fan.
No. My wife would be watching. She was like, what the hell's going on over there? I don't know. It was Jetty and Joey and Eddie's idea. I'm just working here for part-time.
Don't throw me under the bus.
Did we learn anything today? Because this show flew by. Well, in particular, that Antonio Gracias.
That's great.
I did learn that somebody's scared to try to put you in the chokehold.
He's just egging. He's when something's got on him. Somebody's got.
I'm just saying.
He's trying to egg it on.
I've never known Troy to back down from
How about
somebody.
I have not?
And not that you're backing down, but you're just not.
How about I
You're talking me up to bring me down.
How about I demonstrate it on you?
No, I'm
Yeah,
I'm a
that's
taller
it.
guy.
No, he's a big old boy.
As a taller
Boy,
guy,
but
it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
And he
But
grew
you
up in
and Joey
like
are
he
same
grew up in
size.
the gardens. He grew up around the Chisholm. He's a little more of a
He's a tough
fighter.
guy.
He's
He's
been
a tough
fighting.
guy. He's a
Difference is,
scrapper.
I'll shoot somebody
He
on
was
the
at
way
that
out.
boys' school. He was at that boys' school for a couple of years too, man. So,
Yeah.
so I learned something. I want to go back and I want to correct something I said.
Yeah.
I don't want to take anything away from what Martin Luther King did. Let me make that clear. Okay. I get conflicting stuff when I read some of his documents, but I understand his importance and his mission was divine. And I'm just leaving it at that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of caught back on it. I thought, I didn't want that to come out the wrong way.
And I can remember first time really reading a lot of his stuff, being annoyed because he reminded me of Paul Tillich, the liberal Protestant
absolutely.
theologian, and I've never
Absolutely.
been a liberal
Yeah,
Protestant.
no.
But
Thank
no,
you
I
for
appreciate you
letting
saying
me,
that.
do an alibi on that. Yeah.
And Eddie, you got anything you want to add before we get out of here, or are you just gonna go?
Yeah, I got stuff to do. It's good to see you guys.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll be here tomorrow.
April 12th now. April 12th. at
Yeah,
the
that's
house.
when Joey gets choked out.
That's
April
right.
Eddie, I
Yeah.
got your chokehold right here. All right.
All right.
Hey, we got to get out of here.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The Israeli military has issued sweeping evacuation orders covering Rafah. It indicates it could soon launch another major ground operation in the southernmost city in Gaza. Suspected U.S. airstrikes have struck around Yemen's rebel-held capital overnight into early this morning. The Iranian-backed Houthis say the attacks killed at least 3. The full extent of the damage not immediately clear. The attacks followed a night of airstrikes early Friday that appeared particularly intense compared to other days in this campaign that began March 15th. And the death toll from last week's 7.7 magnitude earthquake that hit Myanmar now passing 2,000 people. 3,400 are injured. On Wall Street, the Dow up 367 points, the NASDAQ losing 98. This is SRN News.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is legal tax defense